Amazing.
How come you're not joining us?
You can if you want. I can plug it in.
Don't be the tech guy. One of us.
You wanna
One of
join
us.
in? You can share the microphone if you want. I mean, it might be. Is it picking stuff up at the top?
It is kind of.
It's probably because normally we do it as because sometimes when we have bands, so I have to
I'm really sad that I'm not a band now.
I know.
I'm just a washed-up has-been.
There you go. Join Khandie's band.
Join my band. We'll be as shit as Daphne and Celeste at the Reading Festival. Do you remember that? They got bottles of pee thrown at them. Do you ever remember that? You see, I'm dating myself. Daphne and Celeste.
We don't know anything about anything. Let's also be honest.
That's the best way in life.
References and we're like, yeah.
Yeah, but all my references are like early 90s, early millennial, and you're like a millennial.
Yeah,
I was paying taxes in the millennial. I'm old.
What was I doing on the morning? Probably sleeping. Let's be honest. I was.
Where were
3 months
you
old.
when the whole world was worried the world would end when 2000 hit?
I think.
Do not tell me you were being born, because I will cry.
No. I was. I'm trying to remember. My parents told me so. It's either their millennium.
Your parents told you when you were born. Don't. I remember the government issuing pamphlets that our computers will not crash, Microsoft ruled the world and we will not die when 00 comes on our computers, and yet people put tinfoil hats in and went into the Arizona desert and hoped the world would end.
I think the craziest part is that era is like coming back as like a fashion thing. Like, have you seen it? Like an Instagram thing, it's like Y2K fashion. I'm like,
buffalo shoes.
Okay.
You will never have lived through spiffy jeans.
Spiffy jeans.
Yeah, they were like, or they smiffy jeans. I can't remember. It was basically a guy in baggy jeans smoking a spliff, and because that's what we used to call it back then, kids. And he's just stood there. Why am I doing the actions? This is radio. And he stood there, and it was a logo. It was a logo on your jeans, right? And they were really baggy, and they had this weird loop, and you couldn't walk anywhere. And if you walked in the rain, it'd soak up the puddles as you walk, and you smell like wet dog for like hours afterwards. But you were cool as hell. Bucket hats is what everyone wore because Kevin and Perry wore them.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. They came back when we were like teenagers. So when we were like.
I walked past a guy today wearing one, and I swear I thought we were going to a Kevin and Perry tribute night. That's how out of touch I am.
That's wild, but like, we talk about fashion. What do I know?
I know. I look like a throwback from the Bay City Rollers. Ask your parents who they are.
Yeah. That's So I do love like being told about fashion trends of the past, and you're like, what was that? Because my parents were like, yeah, I used to have like a thermal T-shirt for like raves, and like, yeah, that like just. Think about it, you're gonna get hot and sweaty, and it's just like, so it's just a grey T-shirt with like just colourful patches wherever you're sweating. It's like, nice.
Those are the days.
That makes sense. I'm sure. I'm sure it made sense at the time. It was
I can't remember what I wore. I wasn't cool at school. I was ginger, so that ruled me out of any societal group of any standing. And I was really slim, but that gangly slim that was looked like like a giraffe that's just been born too early. So I was that kid. So I was okay at most subjects, but sport and I were not friends.
Right.
And so I couldn't get into the cool sports group. Do you know, we went to school where even the badminton team were cool, which was bizarre. I had no tits, so I couldn't join the sexy girls who wore black bras under white shirts and ran randomly in front of the lads. I never got that. And I wasn't geeky enough because I wasn't smart enough to hang with a geeky kid. So I kind of hung with somebody who had really bad BO, who I really liked in the end. She was a really good person. I don't know, she was allergic to aluminium, which was a lot in deodorant. But she's a really cool person. She still is. And I was a geek, so I didn't get to do anything cool at school. And so my school uniform consisted of the school uniform. Even on non-school uniform days, I would accidentally pretend I forgot, so I didn't have to wear my own clothes. That's how bad they were. Sorry, mum and dad. Oh, wait, I don't even have a mum and dad. I'm fostered. No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, thanks for abandoning me. You suck.
I had a friend in sixth form where we had to wear like office wear and stuff, which is like...
Yeah, because you're waiting to work in offices, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm going to wear this suit again.
Yeah, like parents spend a fortune on school uniform, then they have to buy you a friggin' suit. Yeah. Well done.
But yeah, he joined in the sixth form and he wore like literally like a green suit. So everyone called him Peter Pan because he was ginger. He's like the coolest guy ever. I'm still friends with him. But then, like, it was like a couple of weekends in, and you like joined our like group of weirdos or whatever, and it was like, oh, we're going. Like, I didn't even know what we're doing. Somewhere on the weekend, probably
Yeah.
just walking around town aimlessly.
That's
Same
cool,
suit.
mate. I
And
didn't
it
have
was
to do
like-
that. I had to do a paper round. I was that. I wasn't even cool enough to throw it. I was that bad at sport. I would
Go up and
literally
drop it.
walk up and place it on the mat and hope no one killed me when I did it. Because I already had visions I was going to get kidnapped by Ursula, the Avon lady. She was going to hold me hostage and put vitamin E cream on me. I learned the hard way not to do that to my own dogs. I could hear them at the front door, put my hand in thinking they'd just lick it, and I lost my fingernail. I was like, oh! I wrote a letter of apology to my postman the next day. He's like, yeah, they've never done that to me, so they just hate me. Yeah.
10 rolls of paper. And
Yeah, you didn't have to get a Saturday job.
I was like, why?
What, you thought kids just walked around with newspaper for fun? Oh, tell me your elite society group. I'll do work for fun. How is that silver spoon in your mouth? I'll tell you what, do you...
Pay was horrible. I used to get £10.
God, that was a lot, wasn't it? That was a lot. I think even the paper round gods hated me because Yeovil, where I was growing up, was quite flat. And yet I managed to get the paper round on the only hill in Yeovil that was practically vertical. And at one point my newspapers were so heavy they fell backwards and rolled down the hill, and I just gave up and went, I quit. And this old lady helped me push the car back up. I told you I was rubbish at sport, which is weird now because now I do strongman competitions. But yeah, I was not well received at school, put it politely. I got bullied. Even I would have bullied me though. I mean, I looked really rough.
Did you have like, your papers like rolled over for you? Did you have to roll them?
No, oh, we didn't have to roll them up. No, we had them. The Yeovil Western Gazette was flat laid and folded, and we used to have this lady who would ring the blinking shop and go, she did not put it on my doorstep. I did, but she wanted it perfectly straight, and I haven't got time for that. Not even Amazon doing that now. Like, get over yourself.
They were so hot on like if you could put it through the door properly or like,
It was round.
yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Apparently, like, mine got nicked because it didn't go through the door. But
You got nicked. Oh, you're like, your poor paper boys are getting arrested. What are you in here for, man? Murder. What are you in here for? Arson. Paper round. Whoa, hold back, hold back.
what did you get done for? Oh, someone's paper.
I remember watching, is it Ricky Gervais's Afterlife? It's superb, isn't it? And you know the guy delivering newspapers before he cocks it. Sorry to ruin it, but you should have already watched that series by now. Comes out tomorrow, doesn't it? Series. Oh, wait, if you're watching this in the future, yeah, 14th of January it's out. I love it. And when he does, what you can do with that? I don't know, maybe you should deliver them. I remember delivering them, and I used to go up to one of the flats, and it was always smell of dry human pee. And I used to try and run really fast in and out. And it was like, run back out. And I used to hate it. I made it a demon floor for myself. Like, yeah, there's an evil monster lives up there. Which is stupid because then I have to go up there on my own to do it. So, yeah. And one day, you know when they open the door before you get there, and you were just stuck in that weird, do I put it on the mat or hand it to you? Yeah. See, some of us have to work as kids. If it helps, I didn't improve much. I went on to be a tailor's apprentice, and at 16 years old, used to be on my hands and knees asking old men which way do they dress while measuring their inside seam. I'm not going to ask you to Google it because then you'll feel really bad, but which side do you put yourself on when you put your trousers on? Men only. Joe? Tick. I was 16. Now, don't get me wrong, I was fugly, so none of them looked at me like that. But in hindsight, that probably wasn't the most PC way to earn a living. Don't worry, I since left and flew to Germany and then joined the military. Yeah, still wore a uniform, still work with loads of men. Still ugly. Yeah, school was one of those. I was called Crow. Which actually looking back, oh God, my nose. No, not like, no. Your generation remember Crow the movie, right? Or is it right? No. I had a nose that entered the room 10 minutes before I did. All the cool girls had boobs that entered 10 minutes before they did. I now have an arse that enters the room 10 minutes after I've already arrived. So I haven't won either way, but my nose was so badly broken at school, and it was so swollen all the time and broken, that I got called Crow, and they used to make crow noises at me. Do you know what? I could write Adele's albums, couldn't I? She does all her heartbreak, might be on the bullying at school. But to be honest, looking back, it was a fair cop to call me Crow. I was a munter. So, traumatic childhood, thanks for bringing it up. But also, on the paper round once, I ran into a lamppost trying to chase after my newspaper cart. But yeah, it was. I've had it broken a few times, but mostly through my own injury or a traumatic childhood, Joe. Thanks, mate. It's fine, don't worry. So I'll go cry later. Your lollipop, did you a bit of the lollipop symptoms going on where your head was big and everything was slim? That's puberty though, isn't it? Your metabolism goes crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I don't at all relate to that. I'm a fat twat, even if I just look at a burger. Honestly, I went from being super slim and then ate military food. Just literally, at one point I was worried I was going to get my own postcode. So I was like, I still did compulsory PT, but I was in the RAF, so it didn't really matter if you did it or not. But I got really thin eventually, but then it's women with hormones, but it was quite funny. I think everyone gets bullied, don't they? I think it's horrible. It should never happen, but it does. Are you trying to make out that kids are creative when they're being arseholes? You sound like a woman justifying her kid being a knob. No, Sandra, your kid's a little shit. He set fire to Arthur's backpack. He's not doing a creative display of art. He's a little shit. Sorry. Do tell me again how you're going to justify agonising bullying memories for the nation with your artist creations. Yeah. I had a girl smear fake blood on the back of my shirt to make out I had a period on the back of my shirt, and I turned around and went, why are my shoulder blades having a period? Are you stupid? And then I got bullied because I called her stupid. But I was like, she just, like, anatomically, do you pay attention in class, love? Your own vagina should not be at your shoulder blades. And her name was Amy Stanley, you shithead. And I probably wasn't even Amy Stanley, I probably got the wrong name. And I just remember thinking, this is why I don't care that someone's bullying me, because you are absolutely redundant in intelligence. But I grew up very quickly from a childhood, so I did get bullied, admittedly, and I hope to God I never bullied anybody, but I can't guarantee that, because I was a shit. And I was, as I am now, a shit. But yeah, I think some people get bullied, and then some people take it way too far. Like, you can have bullying where it's funny and the person kind of, but there's a point where I think the joining in stops and it becomes horrifically traumatizing. And kids are never good at learning social boundaries because we're still children, still learning. But it's when parents encourage it. And yeah, I got told by one parent that it's really sad your mum didn't abort you. And I went, so what was your mum's excuse for keeping you? That was my retort. I was a dick, I told you. I was sharp-witted as a kid. I got in lots of trouble. I got kicked out of school. I was really naughty. I made a nun cry. My dad's still proud, like I said. He's still really proud of it. I asked a nun while we had to go to church, is it a megaphone to God like the bat phone? And she went, excuse me, and then, this is really bad, you'll probably have to delete this bit, all nuns are apparently married to Jesus, but marriage is only real if you consummate it, so who started on him first? Sorry, don't strike me down, I'm just asking, who rotted the guy first? And as he's died, it's a little awkward. Sorry, Jesus is coming. Is he? Sorry, you can cut this out. But so that's why I got kicked out of school. Yeah. I told you I was 9. Yeah. I tell you what, we did have some good teachers. We had some really good teachers. But no one taught me photography. Just bringing it back while I'm here. No one taught me photography. It wasn't until I went to college in Northern Ireland. I was at Ballymena Tech. Sorry if anyone gets mad at me for saying that, but that's how everyone said it. And I was in the class, and we had a guy called Frankie, I'm sure, and then Brian, who Brian just looked like Brian Blessed, but with grey hair. And he was a wonderful person, but he wasn't the best teacher. I swear he was either a functioning alcoholic or he's just always a bit like green grass from Emmerdale, like whatever it is. He was always a bit dishevelled, and I loved him. And then Frankie was like the hot young guy who I had I don't know. I thought boys still smelled of piss and shit. And I remember being in the dark room, and he was in there, and all the girls were like, oh my God, I can't wait to go in the dark room. And I was like, there's no room in here to move. And I've got chemicals that can burn through me. But I learned there, and then I didn't want to do photography ever once I was there. Because it was all, take pictures of this statue. We film, still life. So I stole a camera. Repurposed the camera for temporary use. And took pictures of a guy called Rab, who was a tattooist in the village, the Ballymena. And I remember I did a whole documentary. I managed to fit all my media course around this one guy. And he just thought I was insane, so I spent the whole day with him, filming him and photographing him. And I remember him once telling me, I said, oh, how old are you? And he went ageless and just glared at me. And I thought there was a moment he was going to eat me or kill me. He was brilliant. But yeah, that still didn't trigger me to want to be a photographer. Yeah.
So we had these the cameras are alright. You got to learn with cheap, crappy cameras.
Did you do pinhole? We did pinhole in science though. We did ours in science. We never did it in art. Art was painting Mondrian, which if anyone knows art is just coloured squares. That was the limit of my knowledge, and even that I got wrong. That's how bad I was.
No, we did pinhole, and then obviously because we were in the digital age, we got to learn how to do and stuff like that.
Don't be so young. We were in the digital age. You don't know the meaning of the dial-up tone.
But yeah, no. So that was quite nice in a way, but I became more of a retoucher than a photographer after a while, and then I came to uni and then started doing more photography, which was nice.
I hate to say it, these people who do interviews go, yeah, I've had a camera since I was a little kid. Get real, were ya? You did not get a bloody Leica and run around as a toddler. Like, don't be wrong, I remember my first camera, which probably wasn't my first camera, which is the one I remember, was a yellow one, and it was from Kodak, and it had Dalmatians on it. You would slide it across, the cover was a sliding one, to expose. I don't think I ever took a picture on it, I just like pretending I did.
Yeah.
I don't even know where that is anymore.
That's like a well-funded school.
Oh, I'm sorry, Silver Spoon. I'm just jealous. I'm jealous.
No, to be fair, the photography department at SB was like...
You had a department. We had a class. I'm just winding you up now. Don't bite me. I'm bullying you so you can realise what the rest of us had at school.
The thing is, it's kind of like, it wasn't so much that, but the teacher was so fucking good because he didn't. He was like...
I think people should be more like that.
Yeah, it was just like... There's two ways people read it. Either people are like, yeah, he's a movie cunt, or...
You said the C word, I love it. I love it, it's my favourite word. I use it to describe everything and everyone.
But like, he was just more like, do what you want. It wasn't like, because I got really annoyed when I started uni, to be honest, the first year, where it was a bit more like, now I'm going to learn what the aperture ring does. Take a picture of your friend on, and then just like... And and he's like, but his approach was just like, okay, you've got 2 years to do a project, do what you want, and it would be literally like, you know what I mean?
You've just chosen your foot the whole year of just your feet.
There was things where it would be like, I want to do a portrait project, but my friend wouldn't let me take pictures of their faces, like literally like take pictures of their shoes. And
I thought you were going to go another direction. I'm glad you went shoes. I was thinking she was going to show brown eye, or we were going to be, woo! It's art. It's just their arsehole, but it's art. That happened at my college. Yeah. So I'll tell you, basically, she's a very lovely girl. She took pictures of herself thinking it was expression, because we'd been to the gallery and we'd seen all these naked portraits painted, and in her naivety she created, okay, she was 18, but I'm not sure she was 18 when she started this, so she created her own, I don't want to do it, but child pornography, and then showed class and thought, this is my art, and we were all staring at her. Yeah, and I was like, well, this is weird, because I know now what your vagina looks like. And she went, yeah, but it's art. And it was art, but we were a bunch of 18-year-olds. And the boys were like, because she was so naive in it. And I still remember her name was Sarah. I'm not going to give her surname, because if she ever relives it. And she was beautiful. She's very Rubenesque, very absolutely pale. It was absolutely stunning. But yeah, I was at school going, huh? Yeah.
She shot nudes of like her and her friends and stuff, but she was editing in the like photography classroom. But she'd come in not in her lesson time. She'd do it when like GCSE students in your mind were working on theirs.
Oh my god!
Like that stuff is great, and it's just like
suddenly loads of teenage boys need to go get something from the bin and like stand around and yeah. It's weird how we sexualise nudity, and yet she's taking it for art form, and we've shoved it in our heads that it's sexual. But I don't think anyone walks past, like, Michelangelo's David and goes, whoa, what a sexy specimen. Do they? You don't ever look at that, do you, and go, well, there might be. I'm sure there are people who fancy cars, so maybe they do. But when you go there, you take your kids, don't you, to go look at these great artworks, and you've got David Schlong hanging out, and they're all, well, it's not really, it's quite small and cold in that gallery. But you stood there, and your kids are allowed to watch it. But God forbid they look at a photograph of a naked lady.
It's like one of those like classic like hack photography things where it's like we take a nude and then we make it like
That's entirely my. No, I'm joking. Do you know there's the online camera club type thing, which like just to chuck some out, there's like Model Mayhem, Purple Port, and all of that. The ones where anyone can join to be a model, and everyone can join to be a photographer, and you go on there, and I absolutely love. It's like my dirty secret to go on there, put a random town, and look at people's pictures. I love it, because obviously I love the empowerment they've got to do it, but I also love how naive people are to think they can do it for a living, and I love that, because that's kind of what I love as well. But sometimes I'm like, ooh, what made you think that was a good picture to take of that lady? But then I'm like, well, that's kind of if it's a painting, people go, oh, that's actually really nice. It's quite provocative. Like Freud's pictures weren't exactly always. Look at me doing my art history. Thanks, Uni. Some of them aren't always what we would class as aesthetically flattering in the stereotypical sense. But if it's a photograph, we're like, ugh, that's gross. Yeah. But you know the guy Leonard Nimoy who played Spock in Star Wars? Right. Did you see his plus-size photography? He did. I mean, Spock, right? Incredible. Yeah, he was obsessed with the larger of the ladies. And it was quite, when you think of who he was and probably what he had access to, it's not grotesque, it's really arty. And it's this, sometimes I look at the guys with what we would say is, oh my God, that's a really grotesque picture. They're a guy with camera just clicking a button, a bit pervy, and go, what's the difference? So I'm a bit like, I love the grossness and the grottiness of bad photos, because it's very social narrative. Like, it's a great way to look at it, and I love looking at them, but it still makes me go, okay, I'm all right now. It's a bit of an ego groom for me. I'm okay, that's all right, let's go.
On one hand, I want to be like, no, because your short film is different and better, and like this and that, but then at the same time, it's like, yeah, the truth is, it's like, phone photos are good too.
Just don't blow them up massive. But this is my argument. When was the last time you printed your work out massive? Apart from this lovely display I see here, when have you blown something up the size of, say, that painting you've got up there, that large one there, that's what, 4, 5 foot? When was the last time you put a picture that big? You printed a photo. Look, that's a fact. So, like, you know, if you had on a phone, you would still get one, right? Yeah. I've got one of my pictures that I was very lucky enough, and I don't want to name it, I got very lucky enough to be loaned a Hasselblad for a shoot. And honestly, I cried at the thought of even tripping over with it because I know how much they are. And I will just say, I think everyone should have a chance to touch one of those and see the quality of work with it. But the only people who appreciate that are other artists. The general population, the general purchase of imagery has changed. This is why I get annoyed when people go, oh, why are you shooting bloggers and influencers? Because the way marketing has changed, it's evolved. Influencer isn't a new concept. It's the socialite. It's the it girl of the 90s. It's just moved on to online now. And so I do social media content. And the thing is, people who look on their phone, they don't want to print their picture. And I have to tell to clients, if you lost your phone, what would you be most upset about losing? Well, my photos. So why aren't you backing them up and printing them out somewhere? And people don't back their pictures up. And I'm like, what? And that's because we only see the quality of image and on our phone, which is why... Yeah. But you love looking back at them because they've got it's more of a tactile experience, I think. You love how the film has faded. I mean, I wish it was like in Harry Potter, you know, where the pictures have a motion to them. I love that. You know that whole thing you might have seen online where pictures move with people who've passed, they put an app on it and it changes. I love that idea, you know. My family have got videos that they can share with the public of me. No private home movies here. And my family do love them, but the photos I really love looking back. But I think I like them because it's the weight, it's the smell, it's the noise of the sticky back. You know you can never get them out of the album because they've been stuck in, right? And you turn them over. And I think that's what's nice because you have to pause and you have to watch. Whereas on my phone, I can flick through 1,000 pictures in 5 seconds. Whoop, done. We don't see a value because we put everything on our mobile phones, which is why I think people should sell prints before they hand out digitals. Because if you want value seeing your product, you need to recognise what the value is. It's not the digital file. Look at that, it's like business advice. Ask Auntie Khandie. Why are we so proud when we see our work printed? If we went online and you saw... It's real, isn't it? It's real. Why do you think I do self-portraits? I'm my easiest and worst model.
But you know, they have a physical thing at the end. In photography, it's like, okay, some even those ones that are like hand printed, it's like...
Can we just say that's a talent in itself, hand printing photography? No, I'm not going to clap you because I'm a vain bitch and I can't do it, so I'm not going to applaud it. But secretly inside, I'm jealous and gutted I haven't had a go in a couple of years.
Yeah, but it's just like, they start as like... Most people just see the scans or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like, and it's like the worst thing about digital photography. At least with film, it's like, okay, I'm printed, I've got some.
I don't get why people with film photography then scan them in and then digitalise the whole idea, add more contrast, add that. Surely the whole point of having a film photo is you want the medium which it's generated from. I get if you're going to scan it in to share it, but then why alter it further?
But the thing, because my whole thing was, because I do like those ones along the top.
But that makes, you're not just doing photography, you're doing artwork then, you're adding additional medium to it, which makes sense.
Not the drawing, sorry, but just the prints.
Yeah.
Those scanned in 35mm negatives and then edited in Lightroom.
Yeah.
But I was very careful when using, the reason I use Lightroom more over Photoshop, even though the workflow I prefer, but also that first set of options on Lightroom, like the highlights and all that stuff you can still achieve.
There's that famous thing of James Dean walking in New York, isn't it? Where they've done all the, I'm sure it's James Dean, or is it Marlon Brando? I can't remember which one it is, but it's got all the editing that the photographer said, could you expose this more? Could you bring this in more? That makes sense. Digital Photoshop. But when people start, I think, I'm a massive fan of Ellen Rogers. I mean, she's my friend as well, but she hand tints, hand paints. That to me is a beautiful process. It makes sense. But I see people who get a film photo, they've taken it, they then edit it, and they put it in, they scan it in digitally, and then they edit even more. They reduce the grain, they add smoothness, and I'm like, surely the whole... Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. It just seems to be like you've just removed everything of the whole reason why you shot in film in the first place.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
That like defeats the point, but I'm also kind of against the people who are like, the people who start shooting film, they get the scans back from the shop and they're like, that is what that image is, I'm not going to touch it. And then they're like, because that's cheating doing it in Photoshop, but I'm like...
If you developed it yourself, you would do a little bit more.
Oh yeah, like, exactly. Like, you can change how the images come out even when you're developing it, when you're printing it, even after the print, you know, like element tints it,
Yeah.
stuff to the print itself, so it's like... But though Lightroom and Photoshop, when they started, Photoshop not so much because it wasn't for photos, it was for graphics.
Yeah.
Lightroom, the idea was, like, it's a pun. It's
Yeah.
Lightroom, you turned Lightroom, but the influence was all, obviously they added stuff and changed.
Yeah, they have now. And the new update, as much as I hate it, I actually secretly love it. Select subject. Woo!
But the point of it was to be like, anything you can do in the dark where you can do on here.
Which makes 100% sense, right? It does. I think for me, I do love like what you've got here. Some of this, like where you've added additional imagery on top. I buy stuff like that for my home. I buy imagery and photo to my home, stuff that I have never shot, stuff that I'm not interested in, like to shoot as a photographer, because I much appreciate other people's talent with it. My home has none of my own pictures up anywhere. I don't have them because my home is not to be inspired by myself. I'm not completely narcissistic despite outwardly appearances. I like being inspired by other people, so I surround it, and I regularly change my pictures around my house. I move them in different rooms. It's a bit of a thing. In my bedroom at the moment is all my Ellen Rogers prints. I love them. And no, I didn't get a discount despite being her friend because I refused. I support artists all the time. I don't ask for discounts because I don't expect them being asked of me. So I'm a big advocate for that. But so I've got some beautiful work. I've got some mixed medium work as well. I've got a painting. A photographer who I know has just started doing a little project where they take the photos and then they paint on top of the photos with... I don't know if it's oil. Don't judge me on that, but it's very texturized and lifted, and there's lots of movement in it, and I like that. So I've just bought some of those. So I've got those coming. But I like stuff that I don't photograph in my house. So that's why I appreciate it.
It's not like the type of images that I used to like market and stuff. I couldn't see you judging them.
I'm not judging you. It's just my resting bitch face. I do have an unfriendly face. I'm aware.
Because it's like, you still like, even when you're doing events and stuff, you have to get the shots that make the event look marketable and things like that. But at the end of the day,
Shoot through the crowd, get them holding their mobile phones up. It's always a mobile phone with a band in the picture and everyone gets that one. And yet it's the banger for the gram.
Exactly, so it's like stuff like that that you like, but there's also like the ones where you're just like, because it's like, unfortunately a lot of bands are like phones and stuff like Cameron, and stuff, so you still get those shots.
Did you hear that name drop? It was a clanger, wasn't it, kids? Cameron's a legend. I love Cameron. There's a picture you've got of Cameron where he's throwing his head forward and all his hair is a blur, and I love that one. I think he shared it a little while back, and I do think that was superb. And at the time, I didn't know it was yours because I just saw it on the gram, and I'm an ignorant user. And just scanned through, double-click like, didn't read the caption because I don't care about your philosophical caption. I don't give a shit. Well, if only the bees would live forever, we would have honey and be a life of bollocks. Fuck off. So I like a picture, I'll click like, right? And I love it. And I think that, to me, it reminds me of the rock and roll photography that I saw as a kid growing up. There's a great photographer here in Northampton called Gary Clark. He's Sarah of House of Dapper's dad, and he's got the most incredible rock and roll photography that is yet to be seen. Like, he has not gone through his archive. We're talking Mark Bolan, we're talking Santana, and it's those rock and roll photography that, you know, when you know like the film Almost Famous, where they go along and that's the kind of stuff I see in yours. It's very moment, hardcore. The stuff I'm going to see in photo books in like 10 years' time about music scene. But right now everyone's taking these really ultra glam, moody, gel lighting ones, and you're going to be like, nah, the true shit, mate. This is what it is.
But that's the same reason I can get away with having it in my house, because I try to avoid, because my whole thing with me, and it's the same reason I hate closures, is because like musicians, they have an artist, don't they? There's a character some more than others, but they'll, because I don't see
One of my bugbears with bands is, you know, when they all stand together in like a semicircle and then they put their hands in their pockets and they're shot really low. I always feel like it's aliens coming to beam them up. It really bugs me as a shot. It's always bugged me. I wish we'd stop it. Every metal band, every rock alternative band have got it. Every pop band, they all stand together. Or when they rub their chin. Like, I'm over it. So I do like your band photos. They're actually, they remind me of fanzines from when I was a kid. Like, I would see them and my friends from cool bands would have them. I like that. I think you get the energy from yours because it's devoid of colour. You get the motion in the memory. And I know that's a real arty wank way of saying I really like your shit. But I do, because if I want to see a band, I could see thousands and thousands of videos if I wanted to. Right, badly shot on people's phones because they all think they're a videographer. And oh my God, I'm so important, I filmed this band rather than watched it. I like snapshots because it's the passion. You see all the there's nothing funnier than the face being blurred with a massive mouth one way, because there's too much of this posed performance, and I'm not into it. Like, if I'm going to go band and get sweaty in a mosh pit, I want to feel the band's sweat from a picture. I want to smell your bow. That's what I'm saying. I want to smell your hairy armpitted bo.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the snapshot. That's the word I was trying to get to. Like,
It's more than a snapshot. I think you're downplaying your work. And I know I could blow smoke up your ass.
when it comes to snapshots, it's like, I say it with not in the term of like
Snappy snaps.
what's his name? We do it photos, but
Chrono photos.
snapshots just dismiss that. But to me, I'm like, snapshot is more fucking photography.
I think you've gone back. Some of your work goes back to photography where it wasn't egotistical. It was about capturing the moments to put in your memory box at home, you know, to shove on your mirror. I was there. It's not perfect, but it is perfect. I think yours is very real and actually is probably what the fans will look back fondly on. And I think bands should aspire to be that. Do you remember, we used to have bands that would like have photographers that would follow them around, right? Yeah. Like, you've got the White House photographers, and there's an incredible documentary of that guy, I've forgotten his name, so it can't be that great, who go around and people loved it. But now we apply and we stand in a mosh pit and we get maybe 3 songs if we're lucky and we disappear.
Which is fucking what when Steve, who he's one of the not lecturers, technician at uni, but he does like music photography for Wiki Goth Festival.
Oh, amazing. Have you looked at Scott Chalmers? So Scott Chalmers is a friend of mine. I shouldn't name it, but he's an incredible guy. He does a band, I think it's called The Defiled. I might be wrong. I might have the band wrong. He gets right up behind the band and photographs from the band's perspective point of view, what it's like to be with the band. It's quite cool. I really like some of his band work. He does edit like most of them, but it's some really nice images from there. He's digital, and it's got all the smoke going on, but it's from the band's perspective. It's not. Yes, he gets the band, you know, the cliche stood on the speaker screaming out into the audience, but it's the ones I love where he's got the drummer and he's shooting through the drummer's 2 sticks. Is that what they call them? Drumsticks. And he's shooting through, and I just think that's a really nice angle to get at, because all the show is for the viewer. And then you realise spitting, what a grotty bitch. All right, COVID times. Welcome to the rain forecast of Northampton. It's the fact that you don't see from the band's perspective, and I think that's just a great capture, because you realise the band are going on hoping people have a good time. They can hear it, but they can't see it. There's a wall of sound there coming at them, and they hope people are enjoying it.
I had a really weird thing about that, because I literally it was tragic where on Halloween they did it at that Prince, and they were like, I think Brian was like, you come up on stage and get some shots as well. So I was like, okay, but it kind of, when I first started, because the first stuff I did, it was like,
I love the Black Prince.
some of the super cool, with the new stage and stuff.
I just like, every time I've been in there, I've never had any trouble, and I'm a dick, and everyone's really friendly, and it's quite intimidating to go in there, I would think.
It's like full metalheads in there and stuff.
And yet you'll be at the bar and they'll be talking about Homer's Odyssey. Isn't it? I don't want to stereotype them, but they'll be going, oh, did you watch Prime Minister's Question Time? Yeah. What about Behemoth? Oh, yeah, they're a great band. You see their latest album? Yeah. Anyway, did you talk about the statistics of the people who are dying in Africa because they've got AIDS and HIV and it's just being chatted about? And I'm like, Isn't surreal? Isn't it surreal? I want to give it up to the Black. I love independent venues. I love them. And I know we have quite a lot in Northampton, but it's always the ones that surprise me the most, like going in there. And I it's not even because it's a grotty bar. I think it's homely.
It's quite nice.
I love the wonky table at the front. That's my favourite place to sit. Even though I know my pint will eventually end up slipped onto the floor, I don't care. I don't want them to ever fix that table. It's like that thing in your house. Everyone knows that cupboard's a bit dodgy when you open it in the kitchen, but we just keep living with it. We've got all the tools to fix. We're just going to keep living with it, and that's for me what it's like in there. Just keep it. I like it in there. The bands are really cool. I've seen some really good bands in there.
Oh yeah, they're really pushing it as well. It seems like,
Especially after COVID, yeah.
They've done really good. I hope it. There's other ones like there's. I'm trying to think now. Brain's gone blank. There are other bands available. Group. Someone told me the King Billy might be reopening. Don't open your excitement box too early there, Joe. Oh yeah. I remember when I first got here and I lost the heel of my shoe because it stuck to the floor in there. And can I talk quite openly on this? Like good. I once went to the King Billy with my best friend Jules. She and I went outside to the garden. And illuminated by the beautiful light on a bar stool was a girl getting finger blasted by a bloke, and his rhythm was shocking. And the funny thing is, over a bit of time, because we're weird and we're watching, and she goes, "Listen, you straight people need some rhythm." As a member of the lesbian card carrying team, Julia said that is not a rhythm, and what is he digging for, gold? And we were critiquing this guy's thing, and the thing is, it wasn't weird because they were aware we were there. It was like this unwritten. And I went, "Is this dogging now?" Because we're watching. And she went, "No, there's no car involved. I think this is called voyeurism." And I went, "No, I think voyeurism is like when you watch through a window." She went, "Well, you could watch through that window, you probably get a better view." And I was like, "No." And then I was like, it was literally like we were having. She was smoking, I was holding a bottle of cider, a pint of cider, and then she was. And the thing is, like, it had gone on for 5 minutes, and I thought, 5 minutes, mate, you need to give up. She's not made a groan or a moan or anything. She just sat there. And then I thought maybe he was going to start wearing her as a puppet or something, like a hand puppet. And he's going for it. And then I just went, "I think we need to leave, because I think we might be stopping her reaching a climax." And Jules went, "She ain't ever getting one with that rhythm." And we went back in. And that's my memory of the Billy. And I just went, "Oh, it's very 90s to get fingered in a beer garden, isn't it?" You weren't even alive in the 90s. It was very 90s. But it was absolutely beautifully lit for what it was. Like, the artist in me was like, "Well, this is very Martin Scorsese lighting. Look at that beautiful haze." It was wonderful. It was kind of like a scene out of Cabaret almost. She was sat there on this bar stool, illuminated by a white light behind her, with the soft glow of the weird lights that always went on inside the Billy on their weird low stage. Just illuminating just down the side. I was like, "This is beautiful." But she was getting fingered by a bloke that probably... And the weird thing is, he then came back into the pub, and we all just looked, went, "What? What?" And carried on. Like, "I've just watched you have a sexual encounter. I feel like I need to pay for your drink at least." And Jules went, "I tell you what, it's just confirmed I don't like men." She went, "That looks like a guy who'd rub your left labia and ask if you've come yet." Big up my bestie, Jules. Honestly, that was my favourite. And the thing is, we told the bar staff, and they were like, because we were just gossiping. We weren't ratting them out. We knew the bar staff. Julia actually was shagging one of them, Kaylee. And, making sweet, passionate lesbian love to her. And they are engaged now. I'm allowed to be horrible. They went out, and she went, "Oh, that's a shit rhythm," and came back in. I mean, I don't know whether you should go out and say, just lean over to the poor guy and go, "Just slow it down and make motions of 8, right? And gently rub." Because I felt like as a woman I should tell him that trying to rub out my pelvic bone wasn't going to happen. But, yeah, you youngsters have no idea how to finger people. I wish I'd taken a photo, but then obviously that would be wrong. But part of me's now got it stuck in my memory. There's some barbaric morals on it. There's a very famous, very sad one of the starving child in Africa. Sorry to bring it back from fingering to starving children. Where with the vulture, he left that child. He ended up, to say he unlived himself, so I don't want to trigger anybody. Yeah. But no, I mean, that must have been horrific. He would have been haunted by that. But at what point do you get involved? Personally, my photo, I would take the photo and move the kid. Yeah, very extreme. It's probably the most extreme I know, to be honest. I went straight for the jugular. is, you think about is it war correspondence? You have no idea how they do it because they are literally right there witnessing it, and yet somehow with the camera they feel invincible and invisible.
I know there's like a thing that they're not allowed to like get involved.
They can't be seen to incite. I think that's the rules, isn't it? And they have a great card. But the weird thing is, don't, because I'm still traumatised watching that programme for David Attenborough. It's horrible when you see them. I will say, I went to Horsey Beach once, and we saw a seal with like a coke ring, you know, the cat, and all. Me and my friend did release it and get it saved, and then my mate put Savalon round its wound because she ain't got to save it, and I was like, that thing's gonna bite your fucking hand off. It's not cute. This isn't SeaWorld where they're beaten into submission. Well, that'll eat you. But yeah, I find that really hard about nature because, you know, like when you see animals dying, I mean, no human was gonna. No, you can't walk away from that. Like, that's why it annoys me. Have you seen on TikTok those people who deliberately put an animal in danger so they can get the likes for saving that said animal? There's a guy who put monkeys in the water and then made out he was saving them. Do you remember? And they filmed them. What point are you going round and going, oh, I'm just happy to be filming while I'm paddling up this river. Oh, there's a dog. Oh, no. Keep filming. Get my best angle. Like, put the freaking phone down, Karen. Get in. Save it.
It's kind of psychotic, ain't it, really?
Do not bring up that. I'm still in recovery. Dog's Life, the one that resurrects each time. Stop it. Don't upset me. I'm still traumatised by Legend, where Tom Cruise let his unicorn die in the swamp. I still have nightmares about that poor horse. Like, all good dogs go to heaven? Yeah, that was my era. I cry. It's really sad. It's really sad. 101 Dalmatians. Did we forget she was going to wear their skin and slice it off their flesh? That's why she was keeping them? Yeah. Yeah, she's misunderstood. It's a badass one, though, isn't it? Emma Thompson still is the winner for me in that.
Yeah, she did a really good job.
Emma Thompson just seems to be living the best life that we all should be living. I still don't forgive Alan Rickman for screwing her over in Love, actually. But if you watch Die Hard afterwards, you feel better because obviously of how his ending. I'm not going to ruin it, but you should have already watched it if you're anyone of interest. Yeah.
That's a like Christmas movie, which I just don't understand why.
Because there's someone wearing tinsel in it, I think. I always think RoboCop's a Christmas movie because I remember it coming out when I was a kid at Christmas. The inappropriate Christmas movies.
Yeah, it's like Deadpool's a Valentine's movie.
I think it took me ages to realise what was happening on International Women's Day, though. I remember watching it at the cinema going, huh? At the age of 30 odd, I got my awakening. Ooh, pegging. I also like the fact he's an angry avocado. He's like a hipster superhero. Yeah. I'm waiting for someone from an MLM group to go, have you tried our vitamin E cream? It gets rid of all of this. Just buy it for $9.95, equal payments over 12 months, and you too could join our club. Boss babe. Sorry. Hate MLMs. Yeah, everyone's doing it. We're not seeing the ones that are like on the any group. I love that they think they've got their own business. So can you tell me how much you pay yourself and how you get your production in and who pays your taxes and who does the import charges on that, please? And they're like, and who does your marketing? Oh, that's right, head office. They just bother you into buying it. And if actually they looked at their own resources, because most of them have to do a financial report. Some places don't, but they don't. Is that you grumbling? Was that you grumbling? What was that?
That was the table.
I thought you just silently ripped one out and was trying to cover it over the table. It's all right, Uncle Derek. No one heard you fart. So, like, they all go, don't they? They go on it. There's a great girl on TikTok who really goes for them and opens up, and I love watching her. She's really funny. She just does all the speeches, and it's quite comical. But they honestly, if they worked it out, if you think how many hours they must spend trying to get someone to buy one perfume that smells like cat piss, and then you're like, yeah, it's $7.99. It's better than the real thing. Is it, Karen? Is it better than the real thing? Probably not. I want to smell like Beyonce, not cat piss. Thanks. And you get it, and like, how many hours have they spent? And their portion of that is like a tenner, and they go, yeah, I'll earn a tenner. But you spent 7 hours doing it, Karen. It's not a business. It's not a business. Fuck off. I'm such a twat. My neighbour does it, and she keeps coming round going, do you want to buy my perfume? No, I fucking don't. I really don't. But it smells just like what? Despair and child slavery? What's it smell like? Tell me what it smells like. It smells like tax avoidance. That's what it smells like. Sorry. I'm an arsehole. I should not be allowed out. Sorry. You just get like be an ambassador. You get be an ambassador for our hair products, our sports brand. Did everyone in lockdown start a sports brand? Like sportswear brand, and they all look the same with different logos.
It was a big thing, wasn't it? Like the sports. I remember like someone asked me, do you know that guy I was supposed to do like shoots for, and I was like doing it for portfolio. I wish I never did it.
Why? Gossip. Give us the gossip. Was he a knobhead?
I don't even know what the brand was called, but he was doing like sportswear with his like girlfriend, and like, I ended up doing the photos, and then he was like, and you saw like a glimpse of him on my laptop, and I was like, yeah, I'll send him across at the end of the week. And he was just like, then it was just like the business just failed.
I just find it really bizarre that they go, they're an amazing brand, and then they get their mates to model it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, did it not go in your business model that when you started this business that you would know that you would be reliant on videography and imagery at the very least, and you might want to pay someone who actually fits in with what your brand's like, and then they go, could you do it for free? Why do I need to work for free so your business makes money?
It's just,
Exposure.
No, worse than that. Oh, we can do something and make it as like a collab. And it's just you like 5 blue t-shirts going out you want flat lace.
I'm like, you turn around and go, so what do I get from this? And they're like, well, I'll tell people about you. Yes, you and your 5 followers. Yay. I'm not poo-pooing people who do genuinely want to come out. Like, if Gucci no, I wouldn't want to work with Gucci, obviously, because I've got standard. I'm joking, I'd love to work with Gucci. If Vivienne Westwood, I love a Vivienne Westwood handbag name drop, put it out there in the universe, maybe it'll come back. If she said to me, listen, Bab, because obviously that's how she talks, I think we should do a collab, and I'll give you a free handbag. I say, don't worry about a free handbag. I just want to sniff the same oxygen as you love. That's a collab for me, right? I can see benefit from that.
But also, you have like if it's a collab as well. You're behind the camera. They let you do what.
You hired me for my collaborative skills, right? I will still do it on brand within, but we're still going to collab, and I also hate when they. Yeah, this is all about my product. Your product looks good, bitch, because I photographed it well. Because sometimes they don't invest in the graphics on their labels. Sometimes the product isn't the best, and it's all a learning experience. But the reason why it's selling is because it's aspirational imagery. Because I don't remember the last time I checked the ingredients on any of my face washes. I mean, really. I mean, even our protein shakes, right? We go on the percentage of protein. That's all we give a shit about. Right? You buy a you don't go, what's that? It contains child tears. No, it's fine. It's got 15% protein more than the last brand. It's fine. Souls of dead dogs. Yeah, let's just get it anyway. Don't need to read it. Sorry. But do you know what I mean? No, it's kind of, if it looks good, people are going to buy it.
It's one of those, it's like all photography though, it's like you can bullshit so far, which is like why snapshots are better because it's not completely fabricated. Do you know what I mean?
There's always these ones when do you know what makes me laugh? And this is, you're talking about bullshit. There's this huge movement in social media now that it has to be relatable and real, right? So I did a brand photo shoot where they specifically asked me to shoot on an iPhone 13 because they wanted it to look like you or I had taken it. The fact I don't even have an iPhone, I had to borrow one. I smashed mine numerous times to the point where my insurance company went, no. So I'm hate to be on a dirty Android. I love it more. Fuck you, Apple. I don't have a U2 album automatically downloaded onto my phone now. Do you remember that? You were probably young. Everyone was uproar, wasn't it? And so I didn't, but I had to borrow, and they wanted it shot on that. So I was paid professional fee, thank you very much, for an iPhone to make it look like it was shot. They still needed my skills, So I was still bringing my badass self, but they wanted it shot over because it was relatable. And so it was made to look like a snapshot. So it looked like, I just happened to be walking across the street with this coffee looking perfectly posed with no traffic and no one behind me. How convenient. But yeah, I did. And that's what's relatable. So even snapshots are fake, but it's because they know that's what sells now.
But that's also what you just said is like the thing when people are like, oh, the phone's pissing me off, it's going to take all your jobs and stuff. It's like the fact that they want you to shoot on phones, they still hire those photographers. It's like the whole thing of like, okay, well, everyone owns a pen. Right?
There's a reason why Formula One drivers are hired. They don't hire the car and put another driver in it. That's a great analogy. We buy Lewis Hamilton. We don't buy the car he's in and bring it to our team. There's a reason. That's how photography is. I don't care what medium you photograph in, we're bringing you. And I think that's where you can either be left behind in that mindset or ride it with the rest of us. And it was a great seminar to a point, because I only listened to some of it because I was trying to get a coffee, by Rebecca Spencer, who is a social media content blogger kind of photographer. And she said she uses her Olympus pen and she uses her phone and her digital SLR. She's not gone mirrorless at the time when she was doing a speech. Mirrorless is a cult, I've decided. Everyone needs to tell you they're in it, and if you're not got a mirrorless, they don't want to talk to you. And no one really knows why. The general public don't know why it's so popular. So anyway, that's my argument. It's a bit like Sony shooters. They need to tell you. What do they tell you? What do CrossFitters and Sony shooters tell you first? They haven't got a clue because they want to tell you they do CrossFit and they shoot on a Sony. No hate to Sony, I'm gutted. My one had to be sent back, the sensor broke. So like when people are doing it, like she did this whole thing where she was like, listen, I shoot big brands on Olympus pen because it's relatable. It looks like a blogger had taken it, but I'm taking it. They're paying for me, my aesthetic, my style. I did a whole shoot on a Nikon D90 crop sensor from like the bygone era. I think the hamster might be on its last legs in it. Deliberately, because they wanted me to shoot on... They said, this annoys me, when they do a tutorial for amateur photographers, which I also hate that word amateur, because you're a photographer. You're not an amateur car driver, you're a car driver, you're not a car driver. That's how I look at it. So I went on that and they said, oh yeah, just use your kit. I don't know anybody who has my kit readily to hand when you're in that level of... So I went out and got the dust out of my old crop sensor with my shitty kit lens and did a whole shoot on it. In fact, I did 2 shoots. I did one for the Photographer Academy with a maternity shoot, and then I did another one in the laundrette with a lady. And I did it all there using just kit. I literally went online and bought bad lenses deliberately, and it got published. And it was proof that it doesn't matter what equipment you've got, you can use, if you are experienced enough, you can make it work. Yeah. So I am not of this, you must have the latest kit. No, you've just bought into marketing because you think that makes you better. Well done. So I consider myself... well, I'm not Lewis Hamilton. I'm not at that level. But the only other reference I know is Colin McRae, and he's dead. So I'm somewhere there. You buy the driver. You don't buy the equipment, do you? You buy the knowledge that they come with. And I think that's what photographers need to start looking at. And cameras aren't terrible. Yes, our mobile phones have more gadgets on them than a film camera, but we don't get annoyed at people using film. So why are we upset? Yeah, exactly. I also think if you've got enough time to bitch, you ain't working hard enough. Boom! Fuck you! It's true though, isn't it? I don't sit on the internet. I do, I'm lying. For stuff to make me annoyed. That's the whole point you go on Facebook, isn't it? You want to see if your neighbour's dropped a doozy. Like, oh my God, the Amazon driver parked on the curb to deliver my parcels. How dare he? That happens a lot in my street. They like to photograph the Amazon driver, and I'm like, Sandra, number 45? Sandra, you're the one getting the deliveries. Why are you annoyed at the delivery driver? Honestly, Suburbia's brilliant. If you ever want to do people watching, move to Suburbia and work from home. Superb. Brilliant. But photography has evolved dramatically. And I think it will come full circle. It will always do it. There's always a trend. We'll go, look at this now, this AI stuff that's come in. We don't need models anymore. But models aren't complaining we don't need them because every day there's a new one. I do like the movement of the reflective of society models. When I first started, I worked with a couple of agencies and I asked for some male models, and they sent me some guys that they wanted me to shoot, and they all looked the same. They were this kind of, I hate to use the term, but it was coined in the 90s, this heroin chic look, incredibly gaunt, newborn giraffes again. I could have been a model as a kid. No, I was fugly. And it was this gaunt look, and they had this very stoic face, and they didn't do anything. And I just remember thinking, gosh, this is not what I look out when with my friendship group. And not that I was that worldly that I went, I want all my friends to be represented, because I was not that worldly. I was too white privileged to realise that the world didn't exist beyond me. And sorry, I'm just trashing myself here, but it's honest. And I remember one of my friends, I mentioned one of my friends is in a wheelchair, and he said to me, I can't find trousers to fit. And I just went, well, surely you just go into a shop and get them. He went, no, because I need them higher at the back because of when I'm sat down. And I was like, oh, shit. And then I realised that actually there isn't much representation. And I started to slowly open my eyes. And I remember I was photographing a beautiful bride who was from Barbados. And she said to me, I hated buying my wedding dress because everyone was white. And I just went, shit, it is, isn't it? And I looked at my friendship circle and I was like, I don't think the last time I've ever opened a magazine and seen someone heavily tattooed. Now you can't move for that. But having a black model on the front cover is still considered controversial, which annoys me. It's absolutely, and I know that I'm a white person saying it's wrong, but it is freaking wrong, and we should be saying it is. And there should be every walk of life with images, because Gucci don't have a weight restriction on who can buy their handbags. So why haven't they shown the people who... Like, I don't go in and go, sorry, I want to buy this handbag, but you only show size 6s. So do I have to be a size 6 to carry that? And what's the weight load on that? They don't do it. They just show... And it's just annoying now. Or if they do it in a gimmicky way.
Yeah. Or in a way where it's clearly like...
It's a piss take. Or they try and... Yeah, okay, we've had a bit of backlash on Instagram, guys. So, who's like the latest model? Who's like least controversial? Okay, let's use her. And we'll just use her for one shot. And then like, we'll let her go to one event. But we don't have anything to fit her. So we'll do like a collab with like somebody else. Tell me I'm wrong. Melissa McCarthy, at the time of her own film premiere, couldn't get someone to dress her. Are you taking the piss? Like, I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. So I have this whole thing. The whole thing when I started my photography was that I would take ordinary people and make them feel extraordinary by doing nothing but capturing them. Because I grew up in a childhood that wasn't the best, but I had good people who tried to make it better for me. And I was always told 3 things. You can be a warrior, survivor, or a victim. There is no problem being any. There's no one greater than the other. And you choose which one you are that day. And it could change halfway through the day, the next moment. But you choose. And I want everybody to at least feel the force of being a warrior. Like, it's exhausting to be a badass, but I want them to feel like a badass. You know, I get up some days and I hate my life and I cry, right? I have health problems. I have this. I had a terrible breakup. Blah, 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 whinges me. But I love when I had a lady come in and she said to me, I know because I got this lady come in. I had a lady come in, she said to me, I don't feel very pretty, but I need to get some photos done for work. And it was just a headshot session. She said, look, I said, so what is it you think you don't like? She said, what do you mean what I think? I said, because right now I'm not running to get a bag to put on your head, love. So you're not ugly. And she just looked at me and she laughed. And I was like, well, what do you think is wrong? Because there's a thing of when you can think it's wrong and whether it's actually wrong. I think they're two vastly different things. She said, I don't like the way I've got a massive forehead. And I was like, okay, forehead, I can't height and lower. I'm not a surgeon, but I think someone said something to you because it's not me going, holy shit, the gleam of that forehead, I need to put something. There was none of that going on, all right? So, and then she said, I'm a bit lopsided on my face. And I laughed. And she went, what are you laughing at? I went, I've literally got a face that is lopsided. I've had a stroke. And I said to her, I am so sorry someone has made you feel like that, but everyone's face is slightly asymmetrical. We're not all Angelina Jolie, bitch. You know, and I think we've got to remember, we're so used to looking in mirrors, which are not perfectly reflections. We like to think they are, but they're not. They're always slightly changed. And we spend a lot of time not looking at eye level with ourselves. We get too close, and then we hone in on small things. If we stepped back and looked in that mirror, we would see a lot more of the picture of what you and I see. And it's when ladies, particularly, they're the harshest critic, but I also think teenage boys are definitely, they don't talk about it much, but they definitely are, from my experience with my godchildren. When you look in a mirror at yourself, you're looking down into that mirror, which, as we know, doesn't allow for the best angle anyway. So you have this warped perception already before you go out into the world. And then you see people, and you resting bitch face like me. People probably think I'm a dick. I am a dick, but I'm not normally a dick outwardly. Right? I look because I look at people because I love what they're wearing, or I'm a notorious person who will stop my car and go, "You look banging today. I love your hair." And my boyfriend goes mad at me because I will say it to all sorts of people. I'll stop and go, "Your dog's amazing," and then drive off like a weirdo. Safety maneuver out. And I just think there's this whole philosophy that we have allowed ourselves to sort of get poisoned slowly over what we think's right or wrong. Years ago, having big lips was a bad thing for some reason. I don't know why. And it was like, oh my God, and we get called Bubba when these are horrific names. And now everyone's pumping their lips up. I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all, as long as you're not monopolising someone's insecurities to make more money for yourself. But and some people go too far and they aren't aware. I don't set the barometer, but sometimes it looks, are you okay, boo? Do we need to have a cuddle? And and I'm not letting them. But then, girls are the worst. No, they're not. They're not the worst to each other. They're just the ones that know how to say the things that hurt the most. Yeah. And the men will say things like, "Oh, shut up, you fat slag," and we'll go, "Man, you're a dick with small penis," and we'll forget what you say. But if a girl says to a girl, "You're just fat," God, that cuts deep. So we have this idea. So she came and she did these headshots, and I was really nice. And she said to me, "You have to pay me a compliment." "No, I don't. You've paid me to take a picture, not to be nice to you. Sorry." And she just looked at me, and I went, "I'll be honest. I don't have to say you're beautiful. I don't have to." And she said, I said to her, "There's so much more to you than just aesthetics, but just from while we're going on it, I think your eyebrows are absolutely sensational." She went, "What?" I went, "Your eyebrows are stunning." It was the weirdest compliment I think she's probably ever heard, but they were really beautiful, really dark and really sculpted and just beautiful. And she laughed, and that's when I got a headshot. And when she came back to look at her pictures, and she said, "Is that really me?" I went, "No, it's actually my mate. I just photoshopped you into." And she went, "What do you mean?" I said, "It's what you look like. That is you. You never stand in front of somebody like this. You're not in a court hearing. You're not on the military parade like I was. Your people love you for your smile, the memories they get, the slight nuances of your face. That's what they love. Why do you think your children draw you with your face so big and then your arms up? Because that's what they see. That's what they have. That's what they love about you. Except for my godchild drew me like a giraffe. But so I love him, and that's what I love. And she said they're the best things I've seen of me. And she's got them all over her profile. And randomly I met up with her in Starbucks, tax dodging twats, and she had it on her wallpaper. And I think that's the biggest compliment I've ever had. She wanted to look at her face that she told me was ugly every day. At least multiple times a day. That's the compliment. I could photograph a celebrity, and I have. I could photograph a celebrity. I could put front covers. But if I make that girl who works at the healthcare centre feel like a badass, my job's done as a photographer. That's what I'm there for. I'm not here to... I don't like heavily retouching people. And it's not because I can't, because I can. And I have done it for clients. But why do I want to make you look like so vastly different? I could do the charade of hair and makeup, and I think we can all do that, particularly me. I'm not naturally platinum blonde. I'm a gua. I'm a ginger. I smell of piss and twiglets. And I have a scar, and I have texture skin, and I just quite enjoy putting ugly pictures of myself. I have a great epiphany for putting ugly pictures of myself. I love it. I do an angry penis face, and I send them to my boyfriend. He goes, "Show me a sex picture," and I'm like, because that's what you look like when I'm on top. But that's what it is it not? And he loves that. He finds that hilarious. He tells me, "Does you better fucking love it." And that's as a photographer. I don't want you to be something that you don't feel. I want you to walk out my studio with your image going, "That is me. That's not me because she's photoshopped me to look like that. She has not made me into somebody else. That is me as I am." And that's why your band photography is so honest. That is them. You haven't sculpted an ideal. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
But there's some bands that I've shot, 2 or 3 times, but then there's like Tragic that I've shot a week after they formed, and then have continued to shoot to now, and it's like even I've known her 2-3 years now, and now it's only just now at the point where I'm like, okay, I can actually get them out of them, because there's like with you with this person to get that one headshot when they were laughing or whatever. That's it's very hard to get something and.
They have to let down their barriers, don't they?
So and which people and most opportunities when you're shooting people you don't get, because it's I do club photography. I was there last night, and it's you go around and take pictures of people, and normally you have 2 minutes of their time, where you
doing? Sorry.
Like club photography. But
Don't do that. You saw my video on that. What the hell are you doing? Tell me how that works. I'm not trying to. Don't want to make you feel bad, but how does the maths work out for you?
terribly, but it's, you know what I mean? No, it's not too bad, but like the thing is, it's kind of like I know the guys organising stuff, and the guys and stuff. So
Okay, that's different. Yeah.
It's not just I'm working for, because there are other clubs that have offered me actually way worse deals. You know what I mean?
I got approached by Club Northampton, local. Not going to tell anybody, but you're a dick because you own a few. No, sorry, you're an ambassador. Who offered me 80 quid to shoot from 9 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning, and I had to have the photos returned to them. I'm not being funny. If my lens breaks, I'm screwed. There's alcohol, there's booze, there was fire, I think, there, and I'm a fire performer, so I knew not to get close. And it's just like, so you want to use them all for promotion, and what? What am I getting out of that? Like, I have to go home and edit that. You're not just getting me for those hours. I've got hours at home. All my and my insurance alone is more technically once I've and I just think for people who they see no value because, but yet if you ask them to do their talent for that part, they go mad. And fellow creatives are terrible for not seeing value in other creatives, aren't we?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's like it's a minefield basically, because there's some that are just like, and some that will offer something that sounds good, and you're like, oh great, and then you find out, oh, they don't even pay their arse out, so what am I expecting to do?
Wait, is that the same club I was asked to?
But I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, like, but no, it's interesting though, because it's like you just get, because I'm doing it with like the students and stuff, and they're like societies, so it's not a typical club.
But you guys are a target. Students are a target for cheap labour. I in photography, a lot. I get really annoyed when I see you guys busting an ass, knowing you've got exams, knowing that you've got a social life to enjoy, you've got pot noodles that need eating, all of that stuff, right? And I get annoyed when I see you getting approached for what should be paid work for exposure. That annoys me.
But like the good thing about Northampton Uni though is like they're very good at like I guess screening, or just like they have a very keen. Because since we've left, there's been some where they'll get like full on commercial commissions that we like. There's been stuff like that, like really ridiculous stuff where it's like just the biggest, yeah, and the biggest, and it's like full like stuff you had to go to someone who has like years of experience, and they like talk to us about it because they were like, well, sure, we're not giving it to one of our students because they'll bomb it and they'll lose all their confidence, and also, but even in the back of our head, we were still like, but the big red flag here is they've come to a university student.
Yeah, people don't see it.
And it's not like either really like a fun thing or, you know,
The client's a dick.
yeah, exactly. Like that's when
So much red flag, it's bunting.
It's like, but yeah, what was it?
You were saying that they weed it out for you and they look after you. And you,
Very good at that, which like we didn't necessarily realise at the time we were there because we only saw the jobs that they let crews pass on certain year groups and stuff. But
I've been burnt a few times. When I was living in London, I got offered a very lucrative front cover, which would have been really good for my career. And they said to me, it was a big magazine, it was a very female-heavy led magazine, and they were like, look, we like your work. I don't know why they did. They probably found it on Flickr, it's that old. And she said to me, could you come along to London? I lived in Pinner at the time. If you've watched The In-Betweeners, that's where they all hang out. And Zone 6 are not really London, is it? Let's be honest. And they said, would you come into Central and meet us there at 9, which meant rush hour. So that alone was like, Argh. And it was to shoot this person who was on a very popular TV show as the host, very popular. And it was to be the front cover and all the subsequent articles about this person. She was hot property. It was a very, very popular TV show in somewhere exotic. And I got there, everything was arranged, they told me what was going to happen, and it wasn't paid, it was expenses paid, and they would put me a credit byline, and I would have tear sheets and stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's cool, it's a front cover, it's a big deal, it's my first ever major front cover, other than like the little ones I've done for like local mags. And I got there, and it was at 9 o'clock. I got there early because I'm really careful about being early, as you found out today. And I was there early, and I waited. And at 9:30, so half an hour after it was meant to have started, they messaged me to say that she was no longer coming, and she just didn't want to show up. And I was like, okay, so I've travelled away into London. I thought, okay, I've got my expenses paid. Oh, they said, well, because the shoot didn't happen, we're not going to give you the expenses. And it was only in a message. Don't get me wrong, I didn't lose loads of money, but the excitement and the damage it did to me from a confidence side was so damaging because one, who the hell does she think she is not showing up? But then I was like, what a mug am I? And I learned really quickly not to just do it. I don't do free work. I will ask if someone wants to do free work, and I specify very quickly in my contracts what they get, how they get them, and how long they get for them, whatever it is. And I get really annoyed when even now big brands will quibble with me over a cost. And yeah, I've just done one for a fairly local magazine for their front cover, and they told me the rate, and I just accepted. There was no negotiation required, and that was for one image. Whereas a magazine with loads of potential, loads of quite a budget, because you've seen who they've had, wanted a whole spread done and expected me just to do it for free. And the reason why I think they have so much money is because people think that they're going to get something from it. And if you are, when was the last time you opened a magazine and wanted to know who the photographer was? You look at the image and keep the image back, don't you? You don't go, wow, that David guy's amazing. You don't, do you? You look at the image and you keep it for reference. Exactly. This isn't the only person I probably like. You look at Annie Leibovitz, you know Annie Leibovitz straight away, right? You look at Chris Knight, all those people, you know them, right? But you don't open a magazine and go, that's really cool photography. I will look at that photographer's more. You go, oh, I wonder if there's any more examples of similar lighting somewhere. Pinterest, gel lighting with neon back, whatever it is, right? But we don't look for that photographer, rarely.
And then normal people look at it like, who's the person
in the picture.
It's the same with Vulture, they don't see.
We don't see the bit that goes behind it.
Yeah, it's kind of okay.
But that's our problem, because we do things to clients where we'll go, yeah, I'll get that edited up for you. They don't know what editing means. They think we sit and press a filter on Instagram and boom, it's done, and they look like a badass. They don't know what it means, because we gatekeep that information. We don't want anyone to see what our picture. Like, I love the ones where, you know, where you press here to edit this image, and it goes raw to the edited picture, and it's really quick, and you think, oh, they're great, but then you realise that's probably helping people think that editing's done really quickly because it's one click. If we actually said, no, you spend 7 hours crying over an edit because you keep trying to edit this spot and it takes texture from another section, and you stupidly left one strand of hair across the eyeball, and now when you edit it out, it makes the eyeball look like a lizard. You know what I mean? Like, you get all, and because we won't let them see. It's like when people buy a cake. Why are you paying 40 quid for a cake and you get them for a tenner at Tesco's? Because we have made the process so easy being social media. Everyone can be famous if you release a sex tape, Kim Kardashian. You know, let's be honest, she got famous after her ass. Yeah. Right? So, she wasn't on it. I saw that video, Kim. Sorry. One night in Paris was my era, though. Do you know she shoplifted her own porn tape? Yeah, if you look it up. I'm probably going to get done now, but yeah, have a look. Yeah, Paris Hilton shoplifted her own porn tape. But by all accounts, it was recorded in the best light. But anyway, one night Kim Kardashian got famous because... and she owns that shit, and I'm proud of her to own it. Who gives a shit? But the whole idea is that we have allowed everything to be instantly achievable, but what we've forgotten to tell people is the hard work that goes into it, and the trauma that goes with it, and the accountability that does it. Look at Molly May. I did a thing on Molly May when she said everyone else got the same 24 hours in a day, and she said, and the bit that triggered me was she went, I worked my ass off. In your head, you've worked your ass off, love. Because I tell you what, I am not thinking. I don't see you getting up and like a nurse and going back in when your kids are screaming and you have to go back in and do a job while politicians are having parties and you're telling parents, sorry, you can't come in and hold both of your kids' hands while they're dying. You need to go back there. And Boris is like, choose a wine. Someone pass the brie. You know what I mean? Be a bit political. But like, you know, you've worked your ass off in your head. But let's be honest, I don't know many 22-year-olds who walk out of a reality show and get given a creative director job. All the people that are working through that company just went, why am I working extra shifts so I look good on paper when you can just come in from a bikini? Yeah. Don't get me wrong, right place, right time. I'd love to be a penny behind her. But I'm a fat, overweight, 36-something-year-old who hasn't even got her own freaking hair. She's bleached the shit out of it. I ain't going to get that. And I am jealous, but I also think you need to account that you were very I know everyone uses the word privilege with her. You were very lucky to be in the right place at the right time to work, and that alone should be applauded, but it is not you working your ass off. You might now have to work your ass off because I sense there's a HR meeting about to happen at Pretty Little Thing. But that's what I went, you know, and people were like, oh yeah, she's worked really hard. Would you say to your kid, you don't worry, darling, don't worry about your GCSEs. Don't fret. Go on Love Island and you'll get a creative director role and you'll be set for life. Don't worry about it. Because that doesn't happen. I don't think in career choices it has Molly May as an option when you're going to get it. I would like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Molly May. Go to the University of Life. But the power of osmosis, it gets stripped into you. Don't get me wrong, she comes across as a very sweet woman. I'm not going to call her a girl because she's not, she's 22. But someone wrote on my TikTok, because I'm down with kids, that she's just a child. Why then is she a director of a multi-million-pound company if she's a child? This isn't bloody sort of a movie where the kid somehow wins the money, you know, and is now in charge of everything. This is life. She has a team and she has people beneath her who probably got more experience in the role. And I think, could Pretty Little Thing just release a job description over what she actually does? That'd be brilliant. And if they just said sits on her arse and looks pretty, she's won. But I'm pretty sure she must have to work. And I'm not here to trash her, but I think she should go, do you know what? It was a little line. I am aware that I've been very fortunate, but now I'm in this role, I have to learn, and I'm working my ass off to be a good creative director. And I'd be like, yeah, you go, girl. Whoop, whoop. But don't sit there and tell me you worked your ass off to get it. There is a job in influencing. It has that job, but you only got the 6.3 million followers because you came to more public information because you were in a bikini on a Love Island. People filmed you fall in and out of love and down some stairs. We saw you fall, Molly. It was cute, though. And then you found the love of your life who doesn't fight people on YouTube because if he's got a fractured something or other, and then you go on holiday. And the fact when this was all kicking off about I have the same 24 hour days in Beyonce, I think it wasn't Elon Musk quoted as saying that, and Steve Jobs and all that. It was sort of like, what are you doing? The Donald Trump of speech writing? Didn't he quote something from Legally Blonde once in one of his speeches? And I was like, while this is all going on, everyone's kicking off, you're in New York, bouging it up. Now, no one else can freaking go see their family, but you go to New York, girl. I was jealous. Same 24 hours in a day. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. We've made life easy for every generation. And I know I feel like a twat saying this, but your parents will say, you never had it as bad in my day. Yes, because you allowed me to have an easier life. You worked hard, so I never had the same tribulations as you, which is an absolutely beautiful thing to do to your children. And it's what happens in life. When your parents were at work, they probably didn't have so much union and so much of the equal opportunities and all of that because we wanted life to be easier. So we've made it even easier. And the term celebrity is coined through how we deem as a celebrity. You know, for me, celebrities are Stephen Hawking, Stephen Fry, there are other Stephens available, but I don't care about them. Steve Jobs. I'm going for all the Stephens now. And there's all these other people. But I don't think if I met a Love Islander, I would go, you are my idol. But I am not the demographic that looks up to that. But I know that the generation beneath me do, because we've told our mums sit there and watch it, our parents, our mates talk, it's all over the newspapers. That tells you we are deliberately telling people life is easy, which is why every job people don't want to do because they don't like the hard work factor, because no one's told them there's hard work involved, and then we're angry they don't want to do it. Well, maybe if you made them graft a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't do a paper round, did they? You didn't do a paper
Didn't
round.
work behind the bar. Didn't do anything.
Did you do bar work? I never did bar work.
I worked for the Saints, so I did. And that was,
You worked for the Saints?
yeah.
I called out a Saint the other day for body shaming somebody in Sixfields.
I don't know if I should say it,
Go on, what did you do at the Saints?
but no. I was pulling. Yeah.
What were you do?
I was pulling points at the age of 15 when I shouldn't have been. So yeah, it was
No, there are other, we don't mean Saints, could be Southampton Saints, Northampton Saints, could be any Saints.
Yeah. But yeah, Saints, and then I worked at another bar, and then I was a cleaner. So that's how much shit my life is, basically. This is one thing I've had, right? I grew up in a very different household. For me, I don't think there's a shame in grafting, whatever your job is. I don't think there's a shame in girls doing OnlyFans. I don't think there's a shame. It's a job. Whatever you want to do. It's legal. Can we just say it pays taxes, unlike some politicians?
And I don't have it. Oh, when one of my friends says, she said to me, I met her at the gym, and she goes, I'm just a cleaner. And I went, what do you mean just a cleaner? What do you mean just a cleaner? She went, it's a bit I don't think cleaning's embarrassing. I'll clean my house. Do you think people get annoyed at me if I clean my house?
Yeah, it's so
I probably should clean a bit more, actually.
See if there's this really pauper kind of job.
No,
Easy job.
I think that's a sign of times where we think something's beneath us. And yet your mum will clean her house. So you're telling me what your mum does or your dad clean the house, it's beneath them to do. So they should just leave it. It's a necessity they need to do. I don't think there's any job, politician, member of parliament, actually, that's beneath people. I don't. I'll be honest, my dating history is rapidly checkered. Tattoo artist, professional skateboarder, military people, barber, carpenter. I'm a slick. I never tell people what I do for a living because I don't think it's important. Some of the brightest people I've ever met haven't had what we would call high up jobs, as in society, like, oh my God, I'm an MD. I've not. I've also met some people who are absolutely sailing through business life who are absolute fuck nuggets and are very insular. I've met people who don't literally care about anything but their own well-being, and they get annoyed that their cleaner whistles while she's cleaning. I get annoyed by that person breathing now. So can I kick you out of my life? I did actually, but I have no problems with it. When someone goes, I'm just a HCA. I'm sorry, you care for people, you get out of your day and you go care for people who possibly could be horrible to you, and you clean up shit and you clean up piss and you get treated like crap by people, and you want to do that. Can we just praise you? I'm not into that. I don't think anyone should apologise for how they earn their dollar or pounds or euro. I did try and say Deutschmark the other day and realised I was really old because most of you wouldn't have known what it was like before the euro came in. I don't. That's why I think photographer, when people go, I would just say my friend Corinne and I went to a photo show, and she went up to one of the people who used to sponsor me, and they've moved on now. They're not doing the process. I wasn't dropped. I should have been a bit controversial. And the guy said to her, so how do you do it as a hobby? Photography. And I watched Corinne go every shade of purple, green and red. And I had to remove her from that situation because that man was not going to live past 1 minute after she exploded. And that's where I think people they dabble. They don't. I think you should just own it. I'm a fucking cleaner. I'm a badass. Why can't you be a rock star cleaner? I can clean shit like no other.
Yeah, it's like creative subjects as well. It's like, you're a photographer.
That's cute.
That's all right.
Do you photograph babies?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
yeah, love it. Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
anyone can press the trigger.
That's what the thing is. But if you can be a photographer. Everyone can be a photographer. As far as I'm concerned, if you've got a camera, you take a picture, you're a photographer. Yeah. Whether you are a successful photographer is vastly different. And anyone who's successful, success is obviously a very, how do you put it, very subjective matter. But in terms of business, anyone who's in business as a photographer will tell you spend more time running a business than you do taking pictures. And that's how you get successful, because you have to do the business side, the GDPR compliance, the insurance, the editing software, upgrading. I had to upgrade the memory on my computer the other week, and honestly, I cried twice. Because it's the easiest job to do, but it's the most nerve-wracking. I had visions of my computer exploding and crying, and then I would have to lose all my stuff. There's nothing stored on my computer that isn't backed up. But I was like, I took the first bit out, and I was like, I'm ready. I felt like Frankenstein's monster. I did feel really cool, though. I was like, I've just updated. Obviously put that on the gram. Look at me. And all the geeks were like, you arse, you're just updating the RAM. It's nothing important. But I was like, look at me, Mr. Memory. But yeah, I think if people, that's why I do all my lives, and I talk about my YouTube video about, it's not so much about my work, it's about the nuances of shooting in a small town, because that's the reality of most people. We don't all live in LA, we don't all live in London, we don't all get like a camera shoved down our throats given to us, we don't all get bankrolled by mum and dad, and there's no shame in any of that, but we don't all get that. Some of us are middle-aged. Oh, God, I'm nearly middle-aged. Middle-aged farts who dress a bit weird, who live in a town that's like a mercury deposit, and everyone goes a bit batshit over time. And we are trying to make a living. And I think that's what it is. And I love when I see, I don't gatekeep information. If you want to know what software I use, I tell you. I don't give a shit. You're not going to be me. You're not going to do what I do. And I shouldn't be, if you are confident in your abilities enough to sell them to the general public, you shouldn't be second guessing sharing information. I don't share contracts because they're mine, but my clients can share them, I'm sure.
It's that thing about having your own, because all the stuff you're sharing, like, is information about software or gear or stuff, that's all just tools, right?
Yeah.
It's for the people who are get really gatekeepy about stuff like that, it's like, it's because you don't know what you're doing most of the time. It's like, what it comes down to, it's because like, you've got to that level where you know how it works.
Yeah.
And that's their skill level. So to someone else like get hooked, or when then you figure out your own thing you're doing with it, that then you get into areas of like subjective taste and stuff. It's like that's less of a concern because it's like this person, you explain how it works and then they go in their own direction. It's like,
When I got my ambassadorship for Lens Baby, people said, "Oh, did they approach you?" I'll be honest, I think I approached them. I was already using Lens Baby, and I sent them my work and said, "Look, this is what I'm doing." Because what I was seeing was lots of flowers and babies, and I was doing rock stars in water. Rock stars, they weren't. They were like drainage suit specialists, but I made them look like rock stars. Yay! Big up Print, love you. That's his name, Print. He used to be a printer. How cool was that name? Print the printer. And so I approached them and they were like, yeah, we're thinking of doing this ambassadorship. Would you be interested? And I was like biting the hand off. And I went, yeah. And I got the piss taken out of me because no one knew who Lens Baby was. But I used that product. And I'm really honest. If you watch any of my videos in them, I'm like, I really hate this bit. This lens handed me my ass. I thought I knew about photography and this one destroyed me. I fucking hate this lens. And then I get to love it because, that's the moral of the story. You have to love it. And I genuinely have been I've been sent stuff and I've gone, you can have this back because you're not going to like a video I put out on it. And I mean, if they say no, and I think that's where brands need to be honest, because for me, a lot of people are earning, let's hope, I don't want them to be earning minimum wage, but if most people earn not astronomical money, and I don't like the idea that we shove massively expensive items down YouTube at people and they think that's what makes a photographer. I did that cheap camera setup, that cheap studio setup for £150. I went on eBay and bought secondhand shit. I was really honest about it. I think I came back with £8 change to buy a Starbucks coffee. And it's one light and I did lots of portraits in my kitchen with my dogs running around during lockdown. I went, because most people don't have a studio. Most people can't justify spending 30 quid to hire a studio or more. Most people are scared to hire a studio. So here you are in my kitchen with my badly mopped floor, because I don't have a cleaner and I'm shit at it. That's why it's a skilled job. It's a skilled job. Be proud, right? It is a skilled job. So what's my favourite thing from Hairspray? If you can get blood out of upholstery, you're singing your way to the bank. It's from Hairspray. That's my demographic for reference for life. John Travolta. I like the new and the old version. Ricky Lake is a winner. John Watt was in that. It's cool. And did you know? No, it doesn't matter. Ben Stiller's dad's in it. It's cool. Oh, God rest his soul. And so I have this whole sort of like brutal honesty. You don't buy brand new all the time. You buy lights done second hand. We buy lights second hand. We buy clothes second hand and call it vintage.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we go to Home Bargains and buy something because we think we can make it look bougie and pricey elsewhere. I'm not poo-pooing those people. I'm just saying this is what we do, and I get annoyed when people think we've got a photography that's expensive. It is, but it doesn't necessarily have to be as expensive as you think it does. And you can do really good stuff with really cheap shit. And some shit isn't shit. They just make you believe. For example, Godox is rebranded in this country to another brand. I can't remember which one it is. I don't want to quote it. I might have it wrong. But it is definitely rebranded here. And they put a little price tag on because you get their customer service. I just buy Godox. I love it. I throw my Godox around. I've got Bowens still that are still going strong. And I know they went bust and there's talk of them resurging, but I got them and I love them. They are far too heavy now for me. But I use them in the studio and I have my Godox light. And my Godox light I friggin' love. Because I have dropped it numerous times and that bad boy's like, guess who's back? Tell him. And it doesn't die. And do you know what? I got a really cheap one. I deliberately went online because people were messaging me loads and going, look, I want to start doing portrait photography. I can't really afford this. This is my budget. And I worked out maybe someone could have £150. It's a lot of money and I will say, I'm still in the bracket. If I lost £150, I'd cry. If I lost 10 quid, I'd cry. So £150 is a lot of money, right? But I thought, if someone had saved, maybe they got Christmas and birthday money and it was a student, what would they recommend buy? So I went out and bought the light brand new because that was a good idea. And then everything else was second hand. And I still have that kit. and I loan it to people. I don't care. Take it. Do what you want. I sometimes use it in my studio. I don't like that photography has become expensive. It doesn't have to be. Bloody hell, natural light is free, dude. So if you can learn to harness that, the best thing you can buy for yourself in photography is a reflector if you can do portrait photography, and get outside. Yeah, I'm pretty envious of your studio. Your studio is pretty beautiful. And I'm not sat here green with envy and thinking how I could oust you secretly from. I'm joking. I would never do that. Oh no, Joe accidentally fell out the window. It was an unfortunate accident. I don't like that. So the whole point of my YouTube is doing shit. Like, it's why I advocate the Omni filters from Lens Baby. They're the cheapest component. And I just like that they're so versatile. You can use them in videography and you use them in photography, and I really get a lot of bang for my buck out of them. But I'm also, I didn't invest in lenses straight away. I tell people how to get the best out of a kit lens. Because most people buy a camera, and like my lovely friend Abby, they go buy all these lenses they've seen someone use on Instagram or Facebook or wherever, and they buy them, and she doesn't use them to their full capability. And you're like, right, let's get you through the kit lens, Abby, and get you working on that. And I'm a massive advocate. It's not because I can't go buy the good stuff, but why should I if my work gets done? Oh, it's for the gram. The only people I'm impressing with my photography boner with that stuff is other photographers. And you ain't paying my bills, bitches. Is it fun? Yeah, I don't know. When was it? What photo? Who else? Have you ever bought a photo book that isn't from another photographer? You haven't. You buy one, don't you? Because it's from another photographer. You like their work, but because you're a photographer, I can't remember the last time my mum went, oh, I've just sort of bought this photo book from Sean Tucker because I just love it. And my mum would. Sean Tucker wouldn't come into my mum's reference unless he photographs Cliff Richard. She's obsessed with him. It's disgusting. It doesn't work like that, and yeah, they don't see. Yeah. But people think, yeah, this is what I mean. Like we have made photography expensive for ourselves. We've made it hard. We want to struggle, goddammit. So we're going to make it really gatekeepy, and we're going to keep adding expensive shit. And we are going to, well, we don't really like the way this renders, but we'll keep using it. We won't tell them it's shit. Jeez Louise. I can't remember the last time I sat and looked at the specularity difference between a silver reflector from a beauty dish and a white one. I just use what I've got and make it work. Because that's how I've done it as a child. That's how I've grown up. That's how I am. I don't have a Pro Photo B1, A1, whatever it is, Z79 million. I would love one, sure, but I can't justify that cost in my business. I can hire one. I love hiring them, don't get me wrong. But sometimes I feel people have stuff for showboating, and the only people who actually realise is other photographers. So you're showboating for other photographers who don't pay your bills, who couldn't give a crap about you, and are literally just checking you out so they can see if you've got as good a stuff as them. That's it.
It's a trap that falls into its heart, right? I mean,
you haven't got a full frame digital SLR.
I mean, that's probably one of the biggest, most expensive mistakes for buying that fucking camera when I did, because I bought it first year of sixth form when I bought that, and then ended up going down the film direction. So it's long term. And then
what one is it? Just so you can everyone hear.
The D750.
I think that's a great workhorse. I don't think there's any chance.
I didn't make the mistake of getting something that turned out.
Have you got your shutter sorted out? Remember they did a shutter recall. Check your number on Nikon. Just saying, it's a common thing. It's a common thing. Don't worry, it's not. It's a common thing.
I mean, I've never had any problems with it.
No, I haven't on any of mine. I love my D7. I have mirrorless. I feel a little alien with it. And you know what I found? When I do weddings and portraits, people don't think it's a real camera because they're used to seeing those big bad boys. So I then pay to put a battery pack on it so it looks like a bad boy. And then I'm like, well, the whole point of going mirrorless, it was lightweight and more effective. And now I've put a battery pack on the bugger.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm the opposite though, because I found when I was shooting events on literally point and shoot cameras, it was people would give you more what I go to out of friends, because they think it's toys, so they're black, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's nice.
And you turn up with that, I have to work a lot harder to get people to chill out because the camera's this big
monster.
So it's just like, but I mean, it's still.
No, I'm of the advocate. Street photography is come on leaps and bounds back to mirrorless because people are less conscious of a massive camera. But it's the same. Hiccups. God, we've been here for hours. I do think that we have made a rod for our own back, and then we complain about it. And that's why when I watch people doing massive seminars, I literally go, can you tell me how much your kit was to do all that? Could you have done it with a cheaper kit? I want to ask those questions. And people go, no, you couldn't have. Really? You couldn't have? Because the nuances in lighting differential is purely only noticeable by you and you comparing it. Joe Public isn't, and they're my client. I don't give them substandard work, and I'm not saying my lighting's substandard and all of this, but I keep my costs down because it's an effort to keep my costs down. I replace stuff when it's broken or when I've outgrown it or I want to do something more and it's not got the capability. But then I sell it, or I'm notorious for giving it away. Just giving away a lighting kit. No, it's fine because it was gifted to me and I feel like it should be passed on, so it's fine. It did hurt when I thought back about it though. I've got seller's remorse, but not seller's gifter remorse. But that's the whole point. So I am very lucky that I get sent stuff, and I'm appreciative. But I do tell in any video if I've been sent something. Like I don't. One of the things they do is, oh yes, I've just got this Nikon Z9. And they don't tell you that they sold their grandma to get it. They imply that they've been given it. Have you noticed that? A lot of people do that. So then you think you're not as successful because you didn't get gifted that. And I'm really honest about pricing. One of my philosophies was I'll be honest from the get-go. Like, I can't go off to every trade show that I want to go to because financially I can't justify a whole day off in London because I want to go do this. I also can't financially justify going on all these photo walks, which will probably be great, but I can't justify it because I need to work for a living. I can't go off to all when these YouTubers go, oh, I went up to like Scotland for a whole weekend and rented a cabin and I just took loads of photos. I can't justify that cost. I can go with my mates and ask them to pose and we'll do it, like join it up, but I just can't because I'm working and I need to account for everything. I would love to have the thousands of pounds, but I'm very real about what I do. I'm doing a moment to do where I'm doing a day in my life today, and so far it's consisted of me getting angry at a computer, smashing my keyboard and procrastinating and then coming here. Procrastinating here, just change location. Because I want people to realise how real it is. I don't live a glamorous lifestyle. I don't. There are days when I am puking my guts up and the next day I know I've got a whole wedding to do. Or I remember once, well, right now I've got a fractured hand. Boxing. And I did a shoot the day after. And it was in pain, but did my client know? Did she help? Should I have cancelled? No, because I needed the money, and I hate to say it, I'm not destitute, but I need that money in because there's nowhere for me to move her to. But also, what does that look like to that client? So and when people tell me, oh, what software do you use for your clients? I'm like, this one, but wait, I've got a discount code. Have my discount code. I'm really honest, but if you look on any of my videos, I've got all my reference codes down there. And I've got affiliate marketing, obviously we all have with Amazon and all that. But I tell them, I'm like, affiliate marketing, you understand what that means, right? And get them kickback. But it's hidden at the bottom, my affiliate links, and the first bit's at the top. If someone says to me, what do you use? Well, who's your insurance company? Policy B, by the way, if you recommend me, you get a tenner or whatever it is refunded back to you. I'm honest. I don't think you should be in the object of ripping people off, so I just don't. Like, all the societies that people join, the outwardly ones, some of them are great and some of them are actually shite. And I think we should be more honest with it. Not everything is suitable for everything. And photography, we sit here and we get upset that we're not paid fairly in that, but we have literally made ourselves too expensive technically to hire at times. Because in our heads, we are aware of how many thousands of pounds we've just spent to get to that point, and then we're like, do we need to recoup those costs? And we've bought more than we technically needed to. I'm not saying like fair pay for fair pay, 100%, right? And we should be profiting ourselves and making a profit. That's the whole point of running a business. Anyone who complains clearly has never bought anything in the shop before. And you still buy at Starbucks, they don't pay any tax. But you can't then get upset when people go, it's too expensive. They're not your client, but also it's not my responsibility to pay you back for your £1,000 light that you've bought that you've used twice. Yeah, and I
Shop analogy though, I do like that. It's like when someone comes to you, and it's almost like a mentality of like, so I'm asking for 3 photo shoots in one message or email or whatever. So does that mean it's the cost of one? And it's like, no, you've asked for your whole marketing campaign to be done with.
it's when they think they can do it all in one session. Like that's just proves to me they have. That's when it just proves to me they don't understand the concept of what goes in, and that's partly our fault for not being open enough because we think it's a guarded secret. But also, you know, your roast dinner takes at least 2 hours to make, love. It doesn't. We're not. You know, there's a reason why we ain't putting the microwave dinner on, right? So that's how I look at it. You know, your roast dinner takes that long. Well, your photo's going to take that long. Okay, and your roast dinner goes in your stomach, and you probably shit it out 2 hours later. Your photo you're going to use for a couple of months. That's probably not use that analogy with a client. Don't tell them about them shitting themselves. But that's the honesty of it. That's the honesty of it.
Exactly. But it just, and then sometimes it's like, they'll be like, can we essentially do 3 photo shoots for the cost of one? And then you're like, well, how about, if you can't afford all 3, how about we just do one of them, pick what's most important?
Yeah.
And then they get a bit like, no, but I need all 3. And it's like, okay,
But why am I working for cheaper to fit your budget that you didn't ask for? How did you pick your budget out the air? Did you go and approach other photographers to ask for a guide price, or did you just go, it's about 50 quid? Do you know what? I think Balenciaga trains about 50 quid as well. Can you give them to me for 50 quid, please? Don't. I fucking hate those trainers. But do you know what I mean? Nobody does that. Even if you go buy a car and you think, I got 1,000 off my car, the salesman's like, he paid more 5 grand than I would have. There's a whole reason. You might think you got a bargain, but he was willing to go at least another 4 grand, and you went 500. You went, nah, give me 500. Nah, give me 1,000. He's like, all right. Innit? It's what happens. Do you think your Starbucks coffee genuinely costed you 7 quid and a mortgage down payment to buy? It doesn't. But because they make so many and they buy so many in. But if you're willing to spend more than your hourly rate wage on a coffee order, no shade, you can spend a bit more on your photos because you are going to, once again, piss that out in a matter of hours. Do you sit there and think, that was an amazing Starbucks I had back in 2022? It's beautiful. I loved it. You don't, do you? Ever.
and it also what gives it away as well, and like, so is it Pret started like a coffee club thing, and it's like £20 a month, and you get, I think it was something ridiculous, it's £20 a month, you get 5 free coffees a day, and it's like, and if you went into Pret and bought 5 coffees a day, it's going to cost you 20 quid, right?
But who goes in?
That by 30 something.
But who goes into coffee, gets 5 Prets? Where's our nearest Pret? Could you imagine going, don't worry, Maureen, I'm in the club. I love it, but it's like an elite thing, isn't it? I'm in the club, I get it. And the idea is that how we equate value in photography is surreal. We'll spend, I don't know, we'll buy a magazine that's 6-7 quid. We'll flick through it, we'll throw it away. We might go, oh, I love it. We won't even buy a magazine, 6-7 quid, that's it. But we won't go get a photo shoot for 99. And a photo shoot is all day. You get lifelong memories. I know it's trash to say that, but you do. You get a giggle. You get your photos your friends are going to like. You can print them out. Your nana loves it. She's got one under the mantelpiece where you don't look like a twat. You know, you've got all this stuff, and you've made people stop their day to spend it on you. What? Your hairdresser earns more, and they can fuck it up. You know, I'm not saying hairdresser, but like the equation of value is surreal. People spend 40 quid on a McDonald's order. I'm looking at you, Jules. But find it annoying that their passport photos from the machine are 7 quid.
Yeah. It's like as well one of our lecturers when we did some work, I think we pointed out as well, like builders and stuff can go over budget.
Yeah.
And just be like, let's give you another 2 grand and we'll pay it.
Yeah.
As a photographer, if we were like there's some points where it's like, oh, we'll put in the extra half an hour to get it done or whatever, but we wouldn't.
Imagine if we bill by the hour. Like literally our editing time. I do editing for other photographers, and you know what? Even I underestimate my hours. I have a timer that I go, 7 hours, call it 5.
It's like you're expected to know off the top of your head, and then if it, like editing, it can, sometimes it's like there's always something, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's that one bloody image where, you know,
there's a shadow in the wrong place, or
and it's gonna like just that image alone adds an extra hour or something. But it's just like you're like, oh, well, I said 5 originally. You know what I mean? You never, and if you try it, I feel like clients will be like, really, you said this before? You know what I mean? Like, and it's really like even from what we talked about professionals, they're like, never put in an invoice, put in an estimate, and then if you
quote. I tell you what, just a name drop here. Get yourself a client management software. I don't know if you have one. I love my one. It's Studio Ninja. I love it. It's Australian. It's funny. It's really easy. And I love it. And they've just introduced new languages. So you can have it in Norwegian, French, Spanish. They are working on European languages. So that'd be cool. But I love it because I can I can send a quote to a client and they can yay or nay it. And if they say yay, it automatically produces the invoice and the contract for me. Wax it through. Done. And it's got like where I can do leads and stuff. Yes, it's fun. I've got a discount code if you need it, says mum. I really like it. You can also get a free, I think there's a free-ish one, I don't know, but I have QuickBooks as well, but that's more for my mileage and for my things. I know Pixie Set, who I do my client delivery service, have a version of what would be Studio Ninja themselves. I am not massively in love with the interface just yet. So although I pay for an advanced Pixie Set, I still use Studio Ninja because they are a dedicated one. And yesterday I messaged them and said, look, I really like this implemented. It's an idea where I can invoice a client for a job that is on 5 days a week for 6 weeks rather than having to individually do it. And she was like, yeah, we'll look at doing that for you. So I really like that. I like them, but you might not be you. But this is the other thing with photographers. There's so many hidden costs. Like you are legally have to have a GDPR compliancy program. You need to tell clients this is the contract. This is what I'm going to be doing in your room. This is how long I'm storing them for. This is what will happen. And people just don't. You get your, I hate to use the word, weekend warriors who come in, shoot a wedding on shotgun mode. The whole lot's done, and hand it over and give it to you on a CD. Do you remember that? And you're like, sorry, you did what? There's all of the. What about your contract? What did you do the contract on? What does it say? Oh, I haven't done one. You know, legally, like it's against the law to not tell people what you're gonna do with their images because it comes under that. Oh, it's alright. I do it as a hobby. You do weddings as a hobby. A hobby. Take up knitting. It's far less stressful. In fact, take up being a sniper. It's less stressful. Yeah. I love doing weddings, but I market myself as an asshole. So I literally go, I do 30 weddings a year. If you don't tickle my fancy, you don't get on that list. I do weddings where they don't want a photographer that looks like a photographer who tells people what to do. I want people to think that they've just found their new bestie and they're going to let me cause a scene. I show up in a suit and tie. I show up in a hat. I show up and I walk around and I'll be dancing on the dance floor getting pictures. I don't want them to realise I'm a photographer at their wedding. If you want somebody to do that, there is a niche for that. That is what you do. But I am not there to create the moment. You are the reason there's a wedding happening. Your love story, blah, 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 all the cliche things. So I'm just going to capture it. Like no one's watching. That's what I do. I do the family portraits. That's the standard. But I am not going to go, do you mind just holding hands, leaning in and just kiss a little bit? Yeah, just kiss again. Can you just kiss again? Can you just kiss again?
That's the same mentality with events and stuff.
You don't think back at your wedding day and go, do you remember when you kissed me in the field? It was so magical. What you do is you go, do you remember when we got absolutely slamming drunk and did tequila slammers? Exactly. Remember Auntie Maud losing the knickers on the dance floor? I've got a picture of that.
It's also like one of those ones where like you get some photos and you're like, you know in your head like, I love this photo.
Do you get, I jump up and down and squeal. I am terrible. So all my clients will probably testify to this. There's always one shot where I go, yeah, act professional. I love it. I have been known. Like I love it. I also love doing, and this is the thing, I like doing shots for people I know it means a lot. Oh, I love it. I did one with a gentleman who's got dementia early on set and he's diabetic, and he couldn't remember my name for ages because dementia. And I said, call me whatever you want. Doesn't really bother me. And he was so excited to spend a whole day with me, which I've never had anyone excited. Not even my dog's like that excited when I come in. He was so excited to spend the day with me. He was so lovely, so warm. and he's ex-military like me, and he just gas-bagged for ages. It was wonderful. He was so vibrant and everything, and it really upset me to think that soon that person will be gone. But I fucking love that I got the honour of capturing, and he's just a regular guy. He's got his own stories, history. That I was chosen to capture the moments of him, and I got him laughing and joking and talking about his dog, and I hope that he remembers that moment for a while. And if he doesn't, I hope his family realise how much fun it was for me to photograph him. And that's what I want to do as a photographer. Like I've always said, just take ordinary people and make them realise they're extraordinary. Because I honestly believe that everybody has a story inside them. I did not walk your path in life. Oh my God, I sound like an American life coach. So, yeah, feel the force. But I don't. I believe we all have that story. Don't get me wrong, when I do a headshot, I don't think, oh, I wonder what your childhood was like. Did you want me hug you? I don't think that. But I want you to walk away going, I feel quite bad. Oh, you might go home and go, oi, husband, keep the lights on tonight. Do you know what I mean? I want someone to go back to the office and go, well, that's me on Tinder. I'm ready to get out. I want that. I want that cockstraw, whatever it is. I want that. I want people to leave my studio, or leave my time with them and go, that was pretty cool. Because I want to be the cool kid for a change. We started this podcast with me being the ginger ugly twat with no friends. I love it. I want to be the person I wish did for me when I was a kid. I wish I had met me now as a kid, but in that Doctor Who thing where I've gone back and found myself as a kid and gone, listen, you ginger twat. This will be great comedy value. So live through it. Get the shit kicked out. Let Amy Stanley put the fake period blood on your shoulder blades, because years later you'll be sat in a freezing cold studio telling two lads who were born in the millennials that you were cool at school but you weren't. And I like that. I want that. I have godchildren, and I hope to frigging God they have the best stories to tell from when they're older, because I'm not going to be around long enough to see they're awesome. But I want them to think Auntie Khandie was fucking proud enough to be a dork with them. My god kids, they want photo shoots on the beach. They don't want to get dressed. So they put on dinosaur outfits and they run around the beach and people are looking at us. I think that's the best thing. Your kids are epic because of who they are as a person. Not because you shove them on a white background and make them pose like Vulture. And I am throwing shade at you, Vulture. I am. Or whatever you're called now, because I am allowed to say, in my opinion, that I don't like you, because it's a dated look, and I know some people like. But I want people to walk away from any session with me and go, that was pretty cool, because I want you all to be that little rock star, or a little bit of confidence, and have a dose of it, whatever it is. Whatever I've got, I want to just irk it away, because over the years people have done it to me. Hi, mum, my foster mum. I'll forgive you your Cliff Richard obsession, you weirdo. You know, my Sergeant John Lahuke took a very scared young airwoman, me, after I was horrifically bullied in the military and sexually assaulted in the military, and he made me a fucking badass. He turned around, he was so soft spoken, he was frustrating, and I think he did it deliberately so I would become frustrated, so I would burn the fire, as they said. I was going, and he just looked at me, and I know now in hindsight he did it deliberately. He's an incredible human being. I have got amazing people who have sculpted me, but I've also had to do a lot on my own. And I wish I'd met me as an older. I know everyone says that, but when I see photographers and they're downtrodden, I'm like, why are you upset? Well, I'm not as good. Of course you're not as good. You're still learning. You're not meant to be good. You're not meant to walk into life and it be good and easy, because then you get bored and then you become Vulture on a conveyor belt. We are not a tin can production factory. We are not. Vulture has a business model that clearly didn't work, but where are they now? But we're not. You can't sell private imagery and memory making if it's a cookie cutter mold. Your business can be, but the way you treat can't. And I want that. And that's always been what I've been about, because I dress like a weirdo, so you feel better if you dress a little quirky. I've always loved it, and I will not apologise, and I will call people out, and I don't apologise for who I am. I apologise when I'm a dickhead, admittedly, but I won't apologise for fighting my corner for my clients. It's a nice thing to do. Like with your BAM photography, you go, oh, you know, no, learn it's good, Joe. Learn it's good, Joe. Joe, learn it's good. No, but you are getting told off because I think sometimes we apologise for work we're proud of because we think that's the polite thing to do. But you don't apologise if you love it. You apologise that people don't see your love in it. Okay? But you can say, I'm sorry, you haven't got the brain spectrum to see my love for it. I apologise that you haven't had the opportunity to love as much as I have. But I fucking love this band photo and I'm going to put it on my Insta. And if you judge me, by all means, but it doesn't make me love it any less. And then when people like me go, oh my God, I love it. And then I find out you photographed my mate. And then I find out that there's a reason why I got you on the stage behind Joe. And I said to you at that festival, stop being on the periphery, get in it. You're like, oh, they won't let us in, watch me, I'll get you in. Bear in mind, I let you into the space that I was meant to only be in because I don't think I own that space. I want the next generation with me, next to me, in front of me, behind me, holding me, doing whatever, because I didn't get into this business alone. I feel like a preach. I'm definitely a life coach now. You can join my Facebook group. Well, I will fleece you dry of inspirational quotes. I feel like a mum. I do think we have a responsibility. I've decided to take that responsibility. And I don't apologise for your art. Even if you think it's shit, if you love it enough to put it online, stand by it. And if someone goes, I don't like it, not everyone likes cheese and onion crisps, but do you think they cry? I love cheese and onion crisps. Cheese and onion crisp sandwich. Oh no, I get lips on it. I don't know why. Yeah, but do you see what I mean? Not everybody loves the same thing. Because if we did, we'd be utilitarian force, wouldn't we?
And that's like you said with Vulture being cookie.
No, you can't get sued. Their business model is to churn out the same image, the white background. It's not anything legal. It's a matter of fact, an opinion.
And it's just like
Try me, Vulture.
completely against why.
It suits a purpose. It suits a purpose, but it doesn't, for me, it's not a model that I can morally, from my standpoint, get behind. And I know people love it for what it is, but I'm of the idea, why do you love your girlfriend, Jackie? Please tell me you told you loved her, right? You haven't just split up and I've just caused a problem. But you love your girlfriend. You don't love your girlfriend because she stands on a white background and just stands there, right? You love her because she's funny, hopefully. She's quirky. She dances in her pants and you think that's hilariously funny. I don't know, but the reason you love her is her. What makes her... Because otherwise you'd love every single woman you've ever met in your entire life because they'd all be the same. But the whole point is she's her. Right, and same with your partner if you got one like, or you love them. That. So why are we then making them all the same? I never understood that.
It's the same thing that like annoys me with social media with the like trends and stuff. Because it's like, why are we funneling it down and kind of going? Because it's almost like this horrible thing humans do, where we like to optimize things, which in some cases is really good.
I was just checking you're being picked up. Otherwise, we talked and nothing's happening.
That's like how the show goes, though. It's like
we're never having Khandie back. The show was meant to be an hour. It's now 3 hours in.
That's all good. I'm glad we needed the longer one. We'd keep doing like the hour and a half.
I know everyone says, oh, that's what everyone says with photography. But I think when that first time someone says to you, you've changed their life, and you think that's trivial. But when you're an adult and you sit there and you go, fucking hell, I've changed someone's life, and you go, I'm Tony Stark. I'm Iron Man. I've had it. I've had, and I hate to, I've had a sexual assault victim. She's a survivor. She's not a victim. She's a survivor. And she came to me. She wanted a shoot done, and she said, I just want to be in control of my body in this shoot. And it was a really hard session emotionally for me. And and the pictures, I wouldn't say they were groundbreaking for in any sort of photography. They were beautiful in my opinion, but they weren't, oh my God, that's the best photo I've ever seen in my entire life. It wasn't like that. But she looked at them, she started crying, and went, oh shit, I fucked up here. She went, I look like me again. And it's when she said again, I was like, oh, I just got the hay fever in the middle of winter in a closed room. She said, you've changed my life, I feel brilliant. And I was like, that's what I want to do. If I could bottle that feeling, that's what I want to do. My godchild saying to me he wants me to take photographs of him because he likes my pictures. He's 5. He doesn't like anything other than Paw Patrol. I'm like, I'm winning. You know, I want that. I'm not going to be the best photographer in the world, but I will have the best I can be with the situation I'm in. That's all I want. I'm not going to leave some great legacy behind in photography, I don't think. But I would like to think when I'm long and gone, someone will go, she was a bit of a dick, but she was all right. That's what I want.
Pretty good.
I don't, and you know, if anything, the last couple of months has taught us our time can be brief. And I've lost someone, and I spoke about this on a YouTube video, and that person's left behind a very complex grief with me, very complex, and I don't know whether I should be grieving or cheering, which is sickening to say, but without going into details and not triggering anybody, it's a very hard thing to do. And I was looking back at photos, and I've got photos of this person in all our happy times, but my strongest memories with them are the worst times. Where are my photos then? Where are those photos? And that's where my self-portraits came in, which is why my face is so often covered, because it's me being dark and arty and thinking it's a metaphor for my closed reactions.
It makes sense though. I think that's why like Nan Golden. That's why she's so impactful, because it is like a diary, but not in how like your Instagram's a diary where it's a highlight reel, as people say, or whatever. It is like there's
and 17 filters applied and liquefaction.
But yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, her work is like an actual like diary of stuff that.
That's why I do YouTube. I want people. That's why I put myself in the video. I want people to see. The YouTube I did recently, I was brutally honest. I hated the images. I liked them when I got home. Don't get me wrong, but I felt really insecure. You know, my body has changed dramatically in lockdown. I've gone on some medication that has been really brutal for me, and it's had really significant side effects. And I have lost my badass appeal. So do you know what I did? I went out, didn't look at clothes labels, and just bought what I liked and went, fuck this shit, I can't be bothered. And I've worked really hard, and I'm not happy. And then I got knocked with this grief and this weird surrealness of it all. So I went in to do a photo shoot. It's the worst time to take self-portraits. And what I realised was nothing's really changed on the outside. It's all mental, which is why I left the saliva trail in one of my pictures deliberately, because that is who I am, a bit grubby. I can be as glam as you fucking want, but to be honest, I'm still a sow's ear. I might look like a silk purse, but I'm still a sow's ear. And I'm proud of that. And that's what I want to do. I want people to look at my pictures and I recognise underneath. She's all right. She scrubs up, but she's a dick. When they look at pictures themselves, that's me, but that's also a little bit naughty me. Isn't that what you want? When bands look at your pictures, that's the memories I have of us. But I think this is brilliant. This is one of my favourites.
That was the one when I took
it. Can I have it?
I'm
going to put it on.
Take as many as you want.
I'm going to put it on my laptop. On my laptop, I've got all the stickers of cool shit. In fact, I'm going to have two, because I'm going to put one on my favourite board. Oh, free, I'll take three. Fuck it. Sorry, I've put I think they're brilliant. I love it. It's also Cameron who's, I think Cameron's just a really wonderful human being.
He's so cool. And
he's so kind. And I know people talk about his aura, but I know, Cameron, if you're listening, I want free coffee. He's so compassionate. He is not I've met a lot of people, and I think some are lovely, but Cameron genuinely is, he's probably been a dick in his life, I'm sure he has, but Cameron is just everything I hope everything else is going to turn out to be like. Because he's just kind, like, from the outset. Like, he's never... I lost my speech once. I was trying to talk to him and I stuttered, and he just waited really patiently. He didn't even flinch. He didn't even look at me weirdly. And he always asked me when I met, is that all right for you, Khandie? Is that hot? And I'm like, Cameron, you don't have to worry, mate. If I don't like it, I'll tell you I'm a dickhead. And he's just really nice. I'm not talking about the camera go, but I think he's just a good... And I've met his mum before I met him. I met his mum at a show, and I didn't realise she was teen. So she walked into the coffee shop where Cameron works, and I went, I got starstruck by his mum. But yeah, I want the future to be kinder, but it's not going to happen. The world's getting harsher. But I like to think every now and then there's a Care Bear in it. I'm just a werebear. If you know that analogy, you'll know that they're the naughty Care Bears.
So, yeah. Is there anything more to say about Cameron?
I think we've exhausted everything.
Yeah.
The only thing we've left is the Suez Canal conundrum.
Yeah.
So Cameron.
Cool, he's going to be the next episode because they're coming around on Sunday.
That's a nice one,
it leads in quite nicely with the...
He's a good person.
He's so cool, dude. Cameron, man. I could say
Watch him
what I
turn
feel
out to be a
about
knob now later on in life when fame gets
him.
to
He'll
him.
come on the podcast and be like,
He'll be like, Khandie, what a cunt! Hate that bitch. I hope that she fucking gets
imagine?
shat on by the universe. He held all the swearing into the end.
we made it.